Ladies and gentlemen, it is Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. Here's what's coming up on the Owen Report today. This is truly one of the biggest, well, I don't know about biggest, but busiest news days. Maybe the busiest news day of the year so far. I think I have removed more news from the desk today than most other show hosts will even cover. That's how much news we have for you today. So we've got some news out of the White House. We're going to try to just go through quickly some of the developments, some of the announcements out of the White House today. A lot of action in D.C. And it's funny, the news day is so busy today that the Jack Smith hearings, deranged prosecutor Jack Smith that Trump is calling to be prosecuted, that's like a blip on the radar. That's like a blip on the radar. In fact, my phone is going off right now with my contacts who were at the hearing today. So we do have a couple of clips from that. I don't know, these hearings in the House with Jim Jordan and the rest of them, they usually amount to nothing, unfortunately. But we'll have some of those clips. We're going to go back to Davos. We're going to go back to the World Economic Forum. We're going to hear from Elon Musk, who spoke today. And then the Board of Peace was, I guess you would say, officially certified. They had a panel up there. They all signed a document. So the Board of Peace is now a real thing. Now, there's some side stories with that. But we'll talk about what they announced, who's involved, and then the situation in Gaza, which was the big announcement today. That was the big announcement, was Jared Kushner telling you the plans and showing the plans for Gaza, the business plans, the economic plans, the development plans, and then asking for investors. This is at the World Economic Forum, which, we all used to be against, but now it's cool, I guess. President Putin weighs in on all of this. Couple comments from Vladimir Putin on all of this. We'll be going to those. And Putin, by the way, said no. He said no to the Board of Peace. He was appreciative of the invite, but he said no. He'll explain why, but it's very telling. It's actually very telling. We got some other news there. Kamala Harris is in the headlines today. Development with Candace Owens and Turning Point USA. Very interesting. And we got a couple of news stories dealing with the ICE, the protests, the shooting in Minnesota, and the ambush on that church. Now, 3 arrests were made today. We have the names. 3 arrests were made today. So we'll bring you that update. And on that note, Viva Free is going to be joining the show in the second hour. His show is also live at this time. He ends his show around 4 Central. So he's gonna hop on here when he finishes his transmission. And he was going back and forth with Harmeet Dillon today on X, and then she blocked him. And then it turns out that Harmeet Dillon is going on a blocking spree today. She blocked Drew Hernandez and a couple others. So we'll talk about that. And then we're going to revisit the Boys Night Out story from last week. And we're going to have an individual who was there, who's now become kind of the main character, if you will, in that story, Sneeko, joining us in the third hour today to give us a little insight there. So we are just loaded. Probably going to have to go into extra time, overtime today to try to cover all of this news. We got a couple I told you so's in the stack. It's at the bottom of the stack, so we may or may not get to it. Loaded show today, folks. Absolutely loaded show. I'm going to try to have a really short opening monologue because there's so much news. But let's do it.
This news update was brought to you by OwenSchroyer.store, the official site for Owen Report merchandise.
All right, guys, you may remember last year this happened. It's crazy. It seems like it's been so long ago, but last year I was swatted. And what we found out in the process, unfortunately, still no arrests, but that's not the point. What we find out in the process is that the individuals that were having me swatted had access to my private information. They had access to not just my private information, phone number, address, but also my family's private information, address, phone number. Now, it's one thing when it's you and you know you're in the crosshairs and you make decisions and you deal with the consequences. But when it's your family, now it's a completely different game. Well, that's what happened to me. So I had to take some measurements to make sure that my private information, my family's private information, was no longer available to criminals and crooks and bad actors online. So what I did was I got in touch with my friends at Patriot Protect. And I suggest that you do the same. Patriot-protect.com/Owen. Patriot-protect.com/Owen. And let me tell you why I reached out to them. Because they provide a service that unfortunately I think is going to become a necessity very soon, if, you may argue, if it isn't already. See, what they do is they protect your private information from bad actors online. Unfortunately, it's way too easy to get this stuff. Not only do you have people that sell your private information, your personal information online, you also have hackers out there that can get access to stuff when they hack into some of these things where you might have a subscription, you might have made a purchase at a digital storefront. They hack into the back end and they get that private information. They can sell it online. They can use it. They can try to send you phishing scams, emails, etc. You're probably aware of this. But are you taking measures to protect yourself and your family from these criminals? And if you haven't, now is the time. Patriot-protect.com/Owen. Not only will they protect whatever is out there and get it off of the internet, they'll get all that information you don't want there, you never agreed to put out there. They'll get it all off the internet. Not only will they do that, they then run their service 24/7 to make sure anytime it pops up again, anywhere, anytime, they're on the clock, they're working, they're having it removed. 24/7 protection. Patriot-protect.com/Owen. Right now, you can get 15% off a yearly subscription. You heard me right. 15% off a yearly subscription with promo code Owen. So when you go to patriot-protect.com, you get that yearly subscription to protect your personal private information from criminals on the internet. Make sure you put in promo code Owen to get 15% off a yearly subscription.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, guys. All right. Now, we have so much news that I want to kind of just get through a quick opening monologue. You know how we do here. I kind of come on air, spill my guts for a moment, and then get into the news. And I wake up today, as is my habit, maybe not the healthiest habit, but what can I say? Wake up, open up X, put on my news radio, scrolling through X, and what do we see? Well, you got the World Economic Forum, and you got the big announcement of the plans for Gaza. Now, there's obviously a measurement that goes into these announcements. If we had a truly informed and awake, aware general public, general population, they wouldn't be able to get away with this stuff. They wouldn't be able to do it, folks. But they know they have enough censorship power. They have enough influence over what you see, what you don't see, who they can mainstream and promote, who they don't. So they can come out and make these announcements, and the interpretation from the unaware public is, oh, this is great, right? This is fantastic. This looks like a great development plan. Looks like it's going to be beautiful. Okay, this is good. This is great. Yeah. But there's no background, there's no context. They don't tell you how this plan has been in place for years. They don't tell you about how there's probably 100,000 people dead, maybe more. Some of them probably dying right now under the rubble. How they stood down on October 7th to start this entire demolition plan so that they could build this development. And it's really sick. And all of this is going on at the World Economic Forum, which it's like it's all combining into this like sick little nauseous feeling I get in my stomach. And I'm looking at where we're at, and I'm just like, what is going on? Now we're promoting the World Economic Forum. Now we like the World Economic Forum. Now we like these globalist plans. Now we like the military-industrial complex. Now we like the neocons. And hey, I guess, you know, the magic wand, the magic potion is, hey, just have Trump promote it. And then everybody falls into line. Everybody picks up the pom-poms, puts on their cheerleading outfit, and does the high leg kick. And I'm just sickened by it. I'm nauseous. I'm nauseous because I, like you in the audience, I understand the background context of this, and it makes me sick. And if it wasn't us funding it, if it wasn't us supporting it, if it wasn't our people that were in there running the whole thing, going to get themselves rich off of it, then, you know, maybe it'd just be like any other tragedy happening in the world today, and we just wouldn't mind. Just say, hey, it's not our business. We got our own life. We got our own problems. We got our own country. But because it is the United States of America that is essentially acting as the protagonists here, yeah, it makes me sick. It makes me sick. And I'm just watching. It's like 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, like World Economic Forum, like these people were our enemies. These people were the enemies of humanity. These were the globalists. These were the tyrants. These were the elites that wanted to step on our face and bury us into the ground, telling us we'd own nothing and be happy, stealing our money, creating the biggest wealth gap in the history of this planet as we know it, definitely in modern civilization. And now I'm just watching everybody drooling over it. And it just makes me sick. And I'm not somebody that thinks everybody needs to think like me or believe the things I believe. But it's like, what happened here, guys? Hey, you like what's going on in the Middle East or whatever, our involvement and everything? Okay, but let's just be honest about what it is, at least, right? Let's just be honest about what it is and what it's not. This was a plan in place for years. There was enough of a resistance to it, so they had to stand down on October 7th to justify the whole thing. They ran a military demolition. They killed 100,000 people. They celebrated it. They danced about it. They lied about it. Now they're bringing in their final plans to take it over, turn it into their own development, and sell it off to the highest bidder. So, hey, if you like that, fine. You can like that if you want. I don't like that. But I'm not going to sit here and have you lie to me like that's not exactly how it went down. That is exactly how it went down. So one other thing, and I'm going to have to call an audible here right out of the gates. I apologize. I've had a time zone mix up with Viva, so we're actually going to bring him on here in just a second. So maybe that's a good thing. We'll bring Viva on, and then we'll get to the news. But I'll say one other thing, and this is a little bit lighter, perhaps. You know, it's really amazing to watch how brainwashed people are. Isn't it amazing to watch how brainwashed people are? I'll give you a little context. So I go to the grocery store today, and the same grocery store I've been going to for years. It's like nothing out of the ordinary, just going through my day, go to the grocery store, okay? So I pull in, and something crazy is happening. I'm like, what in the hell? Busiest I've ever seen it. More busy than I've seen it on Thanksgiving. More busy than I've seen it on Christmas. Understand this, and I'm not exaggerating. Could not find a parking spot. It took me 20 minutes to park at the grocery store. Have you ever heard of such madness? And this is no small parking lot. This is a huge parking lot. Couldn't park my car. Total chaos. And so I'm like, what in the hell is going on? Truly, I'm like in the twilight zone here. I'm like, what is going on? So finally able to park, start to go in, seeing the chaos everywhere. The shelves are empty. Shelves are empty, folks. I couldn't even get my normal groceries. I couldn't even get my normal food. Ground beef, gone. Ground beef, gone. And I'm like, what in the hell is going on? And so it finally hit me because I have a friend who's a GM at this grocery store chain. And he said, this is the people that are panicking right now because of the winter freeze that's coming. Shameless plug to our sponsor, mypatriotsupply.com/Owen. Get your winter preparedness kit. So I guess I don't worry about that, or I just know better. I'm not brainwashed. So here's what happens. So the local media here in Austin has been telling us for a week that it was going to get down to 20 degrees. For a week. And so you get these emails. It's like, oh, you need to make sure your water is running. And, oh, you need to prepare for power outages and internet outages and all this stuff. There's like, here comes the winter snowpocalypse. Here comes the icepocalypse 2.0. They've been telling us this for a week, folks, for a week. The temperature is 65 and sunny right now. I brought my tortoise in. I thought he was going to freeze. He's back outside. My AC is back on. I turned my AC on. So it's amazing to watch how brainwashed people are. It's like they just go into panic. I've never seen anything like it. They're running around panicking like there's about to be some winter disaster here. It's literally 65 and sunny. You can't make this stuff up. And it's weighing heavy on me because I'm like, wait a second. Is this where we're at? Is this where human civilization is at? This can't be what it's supposed to. This isn't permanent, right? Like, we're not going to live like this forever, guys. And for whatever reason, it just weighs on you, the ugliness of it all, the chaos of it all, the sheer panic of it all. And it's because they see something and they just go into total panic. It doesn't matter that it's 65 and sunny. It doesn't matter that they've been saying this for a week. Who knows if it'll get down to 20? They seem to not know. But everybody goes into total panic mode. I almost saw a mother. This is how chaotic it was. I almost saw a mother. She returned her cart. She was going back to her car. She had her little girl with her. It had to be 2-3 years old. I almost saw her get run over by a car. That's how chaotic it was in this parking lot. And so then you see that and you're like, this is why the world elites think humanity is so pathetic. Because they see how easily they are to be brainwashed, manipulated, and thrown into total chaos. And then I guess that's why they don't feel bad. I guess that's why they don't feel bad for the things that they do. All right, I got to call an audible here. We're actually going to bring Viva Free on right now. We had a bit of a mix-up on the time zones. And he's on the East Coast. So when I said 4 o'clock, he thought that meant right now. And so that's that just happens every once in a while, obviously, in media. So we just sent him the invite. We're going to bring him on right now. And we'll do this, and then we'll get into the news after Viva leaves. I think he's got a small window of time. So all right, here we go. Viva joins me now. All right, let's cut right into this. And we are live right now. You're joining me mid transmission here. So I'm following the drama between you and Harmeet, who I like. Harmeet, actually, I would rather have her as Attorney General than Pam Bondi. But go ahead and lay out what happened today, and now she's blocked you on X.
I will operate on the basis. The off ramp is I don't know if she handles her own account. You know, maybe there's a
very
team
nice of you. That's very kind of you.
Maybe there's a team that does it, and they thought it would be the pithy response that people would like. But no, what happened today is there were some arrests in that church storming over the weekend. And I wasn't one to jump on the bandwagon and say, arrest everybody now. If you don't do it now, the DOJ is not acting. I said, look, they might need a week or two to do these arrests. And the response from Harmeet Dillon at the time, it doesn't happen overnight. This isn't a Law and Order. It takes a little bit of time. And fine. Okay. They actually got these arrests, at least on 2 or 3 of the people, within the week, which is great. And I'm not being glib or sarcastic. Congrats and job well done. I still do say administering justice is different than delivering the reform to the corrupt elements in the DOJ and the FBI that is needed. So there's a distinction between just administering justice on an ongoing basis and reforming that institution as a whole that is responsible for 4 years of persecution. Okay, so they arrest them. And Harmeet today says, to all you black pillars, panicins, you're going to need some hot sauce because you're going to have to eat crow, whatever. And I replied, I think it was respectful. I don't think it was a jerk. I mean, I think I might have been mean to Adam Schiff, who's scum of the earth and deserves everything he gets. I said, you realize that this is a double-edged sword, but you're calling people black pillars, but you're showing that you can get justice done within short order while simultaneously saying it's only been a year. So, don't panic over the fact that it's been a year and no meaningful deep state arrests have occurred. And the only ones that did occur were James Comey and Leticia James, both of which have been dismissed. And now they've got to fight over the statute of limitations on the James Comey one.
I don't know if you saw, but Halligan, who was set up for failure by Bondi, she just left. She said, I'm done. She quit.
Well, I mean, even if the excuse was that we couldn't find an attorney, I forget what they're called, the United States attorney for that area, because we had corruption there and they didn't want to bring charges against, somebody's father-in-law who James Comey was. Okay, fine. But you waited until literally the 11th hour, only after a tweet from Trump, which apparently was an accidental posting of what was supposed to be a private message to Pam Bondi saying, where the hell are the arrests? So you get this half-ass sort of thrown together at the last minute, 2 piddly charges against Comey that then get dismissed because Halligan allegedly wasn't properly appointed. You're going to deal with judicial activists. Don't leave it so that it's the last minute for no better reason. I mean, the factual elements against Comey have been known for years, and then it gets dismissed because of an activist judge who may or may not be right. And now you're stuck arguing appeal because the statute of limitations may have lapsed. So, I just said, on the one hand, this is a double-edged sword because you're saying we can get results done in 5 days, which is actually faster than I thought it was going to be. You got a judicial activist of a judge who apparently did not allow the charges against Don Lemon, but we'll get there when we get there. And I said, so you can do it within a week, while simultaneously saying it takes time and a year has not been yet enough time to go after the deep state elements that need to go after. Leticia James, tossed. Adam Schiff for brains, has not yet been charged based on what we know were overtly dishonest lies from a decade ago. And then this was the other back and forth I had sort of tangentially with Harmeet, where over Christmas, she put out a segment, a bit, that was saying, don't worry about the statute of limitations because RICO and conspiracy. And I'm like, again, I'm a former Canadian lawyer. These are just questions, and I'm not questions in that joking sense. I was like, arguing RICO and arguing conspiracy to bypass statute of limitations that have lapsed is an additional argument. It's additional evidence you have to make. Easier still is not letting the statute of limitations lapse, so you have to argue RICO or conspiracy. Like, is that right or wrong? And then, I don't get a response to that. She responds to Kyle Serafin's troll about she doesn't have a good microphone, which I couldn't care less about. It's substance over form. But And then today I get this response.
Microphone? Who's talking about a microphone?
Well, the interview that she did, apparently her microphone had died, so it sounded like she was in a hollow corridor, which it did. And who cares? I mean, look, every now and again, I got a good mic in here and a good mic on my computer.
Not everybody has a golden microphone, so we accept
that is a beautiful mic that you have, Owen. No, not everybody has the what is it? The Shure SB70. No,
yours is very standard. Yours is a very pedestrian microphone.
I'll dress it up. But no, so she responds to Kyle Serafin's troll about the quality of her microphone, which was, it's annoying and it might even be a little, irritating. But she didn't respond to mine. I said, don't respond to Kyle Serafin's troll of the thing. It's fun and it's fair game. It's the internet. Just respond to the substance. Like, it's good to argue conspiracy. That's once you've let the statute of limitations lapse. So the statute of limitations is a real thing to contend with. You don't want to have to make subsidiary arguments of conspiracy RICO because the statute of limitations has lapsed. And we're now seeing it.
And it's like the statute of limitations is like, there's things when you go into a trial or prosecution where it's like, there's things you have control of and there's things you don't. And it's like the statute of limitations. It's like, okay, that's, you could say it's something you have control over. It's not a variable. It's like, okay, hey, we know that this is the date, so we act accordingly.
Yeah, and there are sometimes circumstances where you're not sure of the date, or you thought the date started here, and then you find an email that confirmed knowledge beforehand. I mean, lawyers argue this all the time. If you need to take an action within a year, and you say, well, I found out about it on this date, and they said, no, you knew about it a month earlier, fine. But that's why you don't wait until the last date regardless. But all that to say is, she put out the tweet. It says, black pillows and pannikins eat crow. It's like, you got 3 low-hanging fruits of what was shocking the conscience of America, and rightly so. Activists interrupting church services, where had this been a synagogue, it would have been a hate crime. And damn well the Civil Rights Division would have been on in it.
And now we find out, and I said this after it happened, but now I think it's pretty much confirmed without them just saying it. They targeted that church because it was white. I mean, it's pretty clear now.
Well, you did have the white savior there, the guy with the beard, accusing these people of living these white privileged people living comfortable white lives.
And the 2 ladies that they charged were big Black Lives Matter activists.
Yeah, well, it's clear. I mean, I think they also targeted this church because they were trying to dox the identity of the pastor who allegedly also works for ICE, which in and of itself is an actual modern day lynch mob. Like, hey, show us where the ICE agent is in here and we'll leave you alone in your church.
That pastor worked for ICE?
That's what they were arguing. That the woman did an interview on CNN with Aaron Burnett, and she's arguing that one of the pastors, I don't know if it was the guy that Don Lemon was harassing, that he works for ICE. And they say, they can work secondary jobs as pastors.
Yeah, well, that'd be pretty badass, I'd say. That'd be pretty badass pastor if that was true.
Oh, I don't know.
How would they know that? To me, that says they got a source.
Well, see, look, I don't know. And all I know is that's what the woman who gave an interview to Aaron Burnett said. And she mentioned his name 3 times. Even in the article in the Associated Press, they mentioned the name of this pastor who allegedly works for ICE. And so they show up to the church, basically saying, like, turn him over to us. And bottom line, everyone deserves to be charged for that. Don Lemon deserves to be charged for what he did. He was not just documenting, he was not just journalizing, he was partaking in a conspiracy knowingly, and then knowingly harassed that pastor who basically said, can you get the hell out of here? So they arrested people within a week, and it's good. And I say, but calling people pannikins and black pillars because they're upset that after a year, nothing has been done for the biggest players of the deep state, you've shown us that it can be done quickly. And then I did even say in my tweet, like, I get the argument's going to be more complex cases take more time to put together. But you only have so much time, first of all. And a lot of these facts have been known for years. And when Trump was up at Davos and he gave a speech and he said, Bond, there's going to be arrests of deep state agents happening very soon. And some people say he's just trying to continue to agitate his base. Others say this shows you they've been working behind the scenes all along. The first time around, Trump accidentally put his criticism of Bondi on blast publicly. Allegedly, apparently, maybe he meant to do it. Part of me feels that this is not a statement to summarize the work that's going on behind the scenes that Bondi's doing in proper time, that he's doing this as a pressure tactic because it needs to happen. Not just like preference, not just being impatient. It's been a year. It needs to happen because if it doesn't happen before the midterms and the power balance changes, you're talking about an existential threat to this administration for the remaining 2 years and to all of the people in this administration now. And it's not a question of being a pannikin. I hate the word. It's childish rubbish. You have to deal with the substance of what people are saying. Maybe you can throw in an insult.
I contest Panikins continue to be right, is what I contest. So
it's just high school level rubbish. If you want to say Panikins, fine, but then you have to follow it up with substance. I called Jerry Nadler.
Doesn't it feel like a cope though? It feels like a cope where it's like, okay, we can't. It's like I can't deal with the substance of what Viva is saying, so I'm just going to throw these names out there and then ultimately block him.
She called me a Canadian podcaster.
I've got that up. I was going to ask you about this. Is this an accurate depiction of you? Are you a Canadian podcaster? Are you a grifter? Are you ignorant of federal criminal procedure?
Well, but here's the thing. I operate on the basis that I don't know things. So I'm ignorant.
You always say that. It actually bothers me.
Explain it to me. Because again, it's not even a question of being unfair. People say, Viva, you're trying to take down the Trump administration. I said, look at my flipping backdrop. You know, the Trump being president is an actual, according to Hoyle, miracle. Period. Full stop. It's a miracle not to be squandered, and it's a miracle not to be told, shut up, you black pillars, Panikins. Don't say anything that's remotely constructively criticizing the administration, because that's disloyal. There's nothing more disloyal than just being a useless yes man. When I used to practice law, and I had a lot of restaurant clients for whatever the reason, and my favorite client ever, he says, look, the worst thing that can happen to a restaurant is that customers leave and don't give negative feedback if they didn't have a good experience, because they never come back. You never think anything's going wrong. And then lo and behold, you're bankrupt 2 years later. And you're like, but no one ever complained. This is not destructive criticism for the purposes of undermining Trump. This is it's coming to a head now. You got midterms coming. People are not entirely satisfied. You know, some of it might be legitimate. Others might be naysayers. But you don't just get to write people off and then Canadian podcast. First of all, Bongino's coming back to the podcast world. I thought it was a very luxurious profession. Like, we can actually exercise influence on the world. I'm Canadian. I live in Florida, pay taxes in America. You know, I have on the one hand, skin in the game, but I don't think that's required in order to have legitimate questions that ought to be answered. And if I'm ignorant of what is required, elucidate it so that we can know. The reality is,
it's not like you're some isolated opinion here. There's plenty of people who have the same questions or concerns you have. Obviously, there's enough of them that they have a name for you. I pick the brains of people who I know are smarter than me, and people who know more about American law than me on both sides of it. Like, I don't only listen to. I read what Sean Davis has to say. I read what Ed Martin has to say. Robert Barnes and I have our show. I listen to Alex Jones. I listen to Kyle Seraphin. I listen to Julie Kelly. I listen to people who I know might understand things better. And then I come to my best assessment of reality based on all of that information. Look, if there's I understand what RICO charges are. I understand what ongoing conspiracy is. It's not wildly different under American law than it is under Canadian law. And although I never practiced criminal law, I did study it. And so just tell me then, there's investigations going on. You can't know about it. What would be required to go after the deep state players who we know participated in the Russia hoax? And Tulsi Gabbard laid it out how many months ago now? And so Bongino wrote the books on it. Literally.
And Patel. They named names. They named actions. We know of the actions. And so now, because it's over 10 years for certain elements, then you have to say, well, okay, now don't worry about the statute of limitations. We'll get there. Oh, by the way, it's all done, but at least we'll have a political remedy. We'll have more congressional hearings, more, strongly worded letters.
Plus, they were able to arrest, I forget the number and the time. I crunched the numbers last year when it was more relevant, but they were able to make hundreds of arrests within just in a couple hundred days after January 6th. I was one of them. They were able to move on January 6th prosecutions pretty fast.
Well, that's one of the classic, very, very weak rebuttals is they only indicted Trump, 2.5 years later. Yeah. They went after everyone and their grandmother for January 6th. They went after Steve Bannon 3 weeks after he was held in contempt of Congress for defying the subpoena. They went after Navarro weeks afterwards. They went after the entire administration. And by the way, by the end of it, they went after everyone and their lawyers for providing legal advice. That's why merely managing a problem now, merely administering justice on an ongoing basis. Okay, the Clintons defied a subpoena. Good. That is administration of justice. That is not the reform that we need.
Well, and then not to mention, I guess they're just going to let Pam Bondi get away with illegally covering up the Epstein files now. I suppose that's a different
but
conversation.
No, I know. Do you remember that? Like, oh, they were calling me names, and I won't name the accounts, but some of them have since also gone on to block me for being a little righteously offended is not the right word, but taking objection to the fact that we're being told now, after years of never let up on the Epstein story, if you follow up on this now, your support's not needed. Only 6 months later to say, no, release the damn files. And so it's those who were, they called us panicans, but those who abandoned their principles of intellectual honesty 6 months ago were now humiliated 6 months later, where they go back and say nobody cares about the Epstein files 6 months ago, after saying we all care about the Epstein files 6 months before that. And then they have to say, oh, well, now we're being told to care about the Epstein files again. Now we're being told the documents exist by the millions. So look, you don't like making enemies with people who you don't think are your enemies. The internet is meant for misunderstandings. But the bottom line is the DOJ has shown that for certain low-hanging fruit, they can act very, very quickly.
Well, and it's not like, it's like, wait, I don't want to consider my enemy. There seems to be some misunderstandings here. Now, I think that you and I are alike in that we don't mind debate at all. We kind of lean into debate. We don't mind people that disagree with us. We don't take it personally. We just look at it as, part of the game, if you will. So there seems to be this disconnect where it's like, hey, if you disagree or you want to debate me or something, like all of a sudden there's this tension, and it's like, you're my enemy now. It's like, hey, what are you talking about? We're just having a debate. It's like, do you not debate with your friends? Like,
but not even that. You need to persuade people if you're right and if they're wrong, but you would want to have a public discussion where you're like, oh crap, I didn't realize X, Y, and Z. And so we've got a lot of time. Things are under control. It's tribalism, and it's like, I always say, like, high school never ends. It just gets bigger. But you just you get people saying, Viva's being accused of being anti-Trump. I mean, you have to be stupid to say that. Oh, Viva's Canadian. Go back to Canada. All right, that's great. That doesn't address anything, and it certainly doesn't.
That's the other disconnect to me. It's like they almost felt that, okay, I mean, their actions kind of prove it. I think that what happened today with you kind of prove it. It's like they almost say, hey, we got into power. It's time for you to just shut up. It's time for you to just shut up and observe. And we're sitting here and we're like, no. This isn't the normal political procedures here. We're supposed to be agents of change. We're supposed to be agents of reform. We are looking for action. We are looking for results. And it's like, they kind of expected us to just fall into line and be sheeple. And I guess there's enough of the people that do that they feel comfortable saying, well, maybe we can kind of go along with that. But it's like, no, we're not going to shut up. We want real reform.
And not just that, but like basically telling the people who got them there to F off. I mean, like, you imagine that you dunking on the Alex Joneses of the world. And you say dunking on the people who mobilized the very same people that got them into power on very specific promises of cleaning house of the corruption. And then you just have to be, sit down and shut up. I mean, it's a Hirono thing to say. It's not, and it's not even, again, it's not even a debate. It's not a question of like, debate me, bro. It's, you will have yes man you into losing the midterms and losing 2028. And then you're going to get impeached. And many of you might get convicted. And then they're going to blame the loss on you. Had you just shut up and supported us, like what I was constructively criticizing Pierre Poilievre, the conservative leader. I'm not sure that I would have voted for him, but I ran for the People's Party of Canada. But when you are constructively criticizing him and saying you're screwing up this election, and everyone's like, just shut up and support him, that's how you're going to win. You don't have a right to someone's vote, and you sure as heck are not going to browbeat people into voting for you. What they might just do, like the restaurant, is walk out, never tell you they had a bad meal there, and never show up again. And they won't show up to the polls to vote. Then you're going to lose the election. You're going to say, what happened? Nobody said anything. Nobody told us where we needed to course correct. So it's insane. I just didn't think it would come from certain elements within this Trump administration. It's what's weird is it's almost in tandem that Pam Bondi became infallible when, by all metrics, there have been objective mistakes, mishandlings of many things. Like, it wasn't even the Epstein files, Second Amendment issues that, 6-7 months ago, it didn't even look like Pam Bondi knew were going up to the courts, not intervening in Douglas Mackey's First Amendment case where he had to get exonerated on appeal, intervening in the Dr. Kirk Moore case, but only after a week of trial. Like, does any real good excuse for that. And then maintaining the persecution of Roger Ver at the time, Bitcoin Jesus, for an administration that wants to welcome crypto into the lexicon. There was one other one there that was the Brooke Jackson Ketam Pfizer case. Maintaining the dismissal of that Ketam lawsuit into Pfizer fraud, coming from Bondi, who used to be Pfizer's counsel in 2021. All right, good. You don't want people. It's like you don't want people knowing this. They're going to discover facts in reality in any event, and you need to address it if you don't want people losing faith and simply not showing up at the midterms, and then you're going to have a whole hell of a bigger problem to deal with.
Well, and I'm sure that you're probably already seeing this happening. They're already blaming, let's say us. They're already blaming the people that won't just nod their head and carry water for the administration. They're already saying, "Oh, it's your fault. We're going to lose." And of course, the irony is, this was me. I was saying this. It was like when the Iran strikes happened, when Doge collapsed. That's when I was like, "Okay, this is set up for failure now. This is set up for failure. This is midterms failure." And that's when they started labeling us panicans. And now here we are 8 months later, and now they're basically saying the same thing. Oh, crap, we're going to lose the midterms. But they're blaming us, the people that said it first. And that's because I guess they liked those policies. But now that they see most people don't, maybe they want to blame everybody but themselves. Here's the other thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if these two things are connected. I'll get your opinion. I don't know if you've seen this. So there were some complaints recently about the X algorithm. And let's just call it censorship. I think, I don't know if that's the right word for it, but, shadow banning, the stuff that we're kind of used to. And so Musk was seeing and hearing this. So he said, okay, hey, whatever, here's the algorithm. Go ahead, have at it. And so people dug into it and they found out that, and to me, I think that this is Musk being transparent. And he's like, look, guys, I'm not running X. All right. I'm building rockets. I'm building robots, whatever. I purchased it. I'm for free speech. Here's the algorithm. And so what people found out was that blocking, if you get blocked, that hurts your algorithm. That hurts your, let's say, X social credit score. And so what I've noticed is I think people either had knowledge of this, they either had prior knowledge of this, or now that they know it, they're utilizing this block button. So when you get blocked, that actually dings your account and lowers your reachability on X.
I mean, that may be true or not. I've never really cared about any numbers or stats, analytics on Twitter ever, period. I'm sure people could look at my account and say it's not growing like it should or whatever. So, no, but it
I'm
is
just
true.
saying it's a way to silence you. I'm just saying they now know it's a way to turn your volume down.
Yeah, I'm sure. But then that being said, the Streisand effect is beyond the algorithm, and doing it. I mean, it reflects so poorly on the people. I mean, who do it, to resort to blocking. But the bottom line is they're showing that things can be done. Some of the explanations they're giving are sort of somewhat mutually incompatible. That there was just a moment where if you're not, you cannot question Bondi, and despite everything, and it's not going to work. You can't. What you will do is, all right. That was what I wanted to say. Elie Wiesel, you said the opposite of love is not hate, it's apathy. And I say this, like, when people just check out of the system, you won't hear them complaining, but you won't get them at the ballot box either. And you're not going to browbeat people into thinking they're dumb for asking the questions that they're asking. And you're not going to browbeat them into proactively showing up at the ballot box. There's time yet to turn it around, and it has to be done, period. And there's time yet to salvage these what's it called? The word when people unify, coalitions. There's ways to salvage the coalition that was Tulsi Gabbard and her base, RFK Jr. and his Maha base. There's ways to salvage it, but coming out and just writing everybody off as black pills. I mean, it's grade school level clique behavior that might make won't name names. It might make certain people who are towing the line feel very good. They'll get good engagement. They'll have their silo of people they haven't blocked, and they'll look how we're in the cool kids crowd now. That's not how you're going to convince anybody.
It's definitely the high school never ends phenomenon. It's strange, but the older you get, the more you realize that cliche is true. And I guess maybe to kind of put that aside of politics is Hollywood for ugly people.
Yep.
And now, now maybe there's some better looking people getting in there, but
I'd rather I'd rather be called ugly than Canadian. No,
You said it. You said it.
It's so, but it's no, because it's so stupid. At least, ugly is purely physical. What they are trying to do by calling me Canadian is suggest that any insights I might have are either that I'm like liberal because I'm Canadian, that my opinion is invalidated by my country of origin. And this is coming from it's stupid.
It's leftist. That's what leftists do, by the way. That's like a woke tactic. It's maybe not leftist, but that's a woke tactic. Would you prefer? Okay, I'm gonna take a note of this. Don't call Viva Canadian. He takes that extremely personally.
No, I don't take it personally. I don't take it personally. It's just well, that's I'm gonna get in trouble. It's a reflection of the intellectual vapidity of the person, and it doesn't bother me. It's just, it's like, it shows a level of intellectual rigor that is lacking. That's right. Call me ugly. At least you have to address my ideas.
Can I call you a Canuck?
Yeah, well, I am what I am. Like
you're not a Florida man. You're a Florida Canuck.
I think I am. I think I've always been a Florida man at heart. And it's the natural evolution of the shifting demographics is the people who decide to move to Florida are obviously of a different persuasion than the people who decide to stay up in Canada and ask the government to govern them harder. That being said, the idea that, well, you're Canadian, so shut up and support the country shut up and support every aspect of the administration presupposes that constructive criticism is itself not a form of support. That's what pisses me off about it. It's to say you're a traitor if you dare express righteous and legitimate concern for strategy that might actually jeopardize the country that you willingly upended everything to move into. And it's just, it's grade school. It's low level intellect retorts.
Have you hired your well, maybe you could represent yourself. I don't know if you can practice here. You might need to hire a lawyer because they may come deport you. All right, I'm concerned.
No, I'm legal.
They're going to send ice. Doesn't matter. They're sending ice to you.
Well, I was told by that guy on CNN that they're actually targeting people who are here lawfully. No, but that's the other thing is you got to wonder when people make that comment, what might they also be suggesting behind their behind not just the meaning of words, but the consequences of words. But that being said, the off-ramp, I don't hold grudges. And I was joking on my own show earlier, I don't hold grudges because I don't have a good memory. So I don't remember who I have to hold a grudge against. But this is not productive. This is actually counterproductive. What would have been far more productive is to actually, Harmeet does interviews. I'm not an asshole, and I'm certainly not there to humiliate Harmeet at all. And even if that were my objective, which it isn't, I go on podcasts with lefty, I don't know if you know a guy named Pisco Liddy is. I go on podcasts with people who I know I'm entering hostile territory. If I can't defend my ideas, then I might have to, revisit why it is I can't defend my ideas to hostile agents. But
what are you running from? It's what is she running from?
It's not that well, they might be running from the truth. The reality is,
that's what I'm saying. What are you running from?
But it's a shame. But anyways, there's always an off ramp. It's not nuclear war, and I don't hold grudges. But it was just very disappointing because the bottom line, I've always been very commending of the work that Harmeet's been doing. Casually reminding that the Tina Peters situation is critical. So as much good work is being done, Tina Peters is critical. I've had on Stuart Rose laid out the groundwork to how to save Tina Peters. They need to act on that. Dexter Taylor, the man who's sitting in jail in New York State because he owned a firearm that he put together himself lawfully in his own apartment. You get. I guess you want to take credit for the work that you've done. I remember your bit a while back, which is we're past the point now where you get to take credit for just doing your job. You need to be reminded of the critical issues that are time sensitive. Tina Peters is one of them. And it's not because I want to take down the administration that I will remind them of that. In fact, if the new administration comes in, Tina Peters isn't getting out ever. She'll probably die in jail. 70-year-old woman in there for 9 years.
Now she's getting assaulted in there. I don't know if you saw that, but apparently other inmates are.
Yeah, no, I saw that. She got a third assault. I mean, so it's time sensitive. And if it doesn't get done when they have the ability to do it, it won't get done, and you'll have Tina Peters, as you would have had 1,500 Jan 6 victims of persecution rotting away in jail to this very day.
Yeah, and my big issue is with the foreign policy being the priority. That's kind of my big issue, and I feel like that's why a lot of this stuff isn't getting done. I think that we're prioritizing foreign policy, which is not very popular, but even if it was, It's just when you only have so much time, right? Everything is finite in this political world. And so when you prioritize foreign policy, yeah, some of the stuff that's happening domestically, some of the issues here that we're dealing with that we thought was the top priority kind of gets put aside. And deep state arrests might be the most important. It's like if you want to slough off the Epstein list and you want to just bury it and say, hey, whatever, we got to cover this up. It's like, okay, that's maybe one element of the deep state arrest. But okay, what about the arrest for the 2020 election you keep talking about that was stolen? What about Spygate? What about Russiagate? These are the things that it was like, hey, we already have the case. It's like we already have all the information. We should be moving on this stuff fast. And I guess that's why you hit a nerve, because you were like, hey, you just proved you guys can move pretty swiftly when you want to.
Well, the issue is, the retort to your concern would be, well, you don't know what we're doing behind the scenes. And it's like, okay, well, even if you're doing more.
But trust the plan, though. But trust the plan. I'm like, what plan? I don't know the plan. How can I trust?
That's it. And the reality is, even let's just say it's an unfair perception. Then you got to correct that perception. I don't think it's an unfair perception that there's a lot more public emphasis on foreign policy than domestic. Let's just even say behind the scenes, they're doing even more for domestic than foreign. The fact that people have that perception needs to be remedied and not shamed. The fact that I think is objectively the case that they're talking more about foreign policy. Maybe it's more important, and us plebs just don't understand it. Forget domestic policy right now, because we're on the verge of World War III, and we need to secure the Western Hemisphere. So we needed Maduro out. We need Greenland. Maybe, but people's perception matters when you're calling on them to vote for you in the midterm. So if there's a reason for it, convince people of it.
And especially considering if the House and now perhaps even the Senate flips, then like you said earlier, the balance of power flips, and now all of a sudden, what nothing you do? Yeah,
you know what you can do? You can get impeached and maybe even convicted, depending on who you are.
I think you will get impeached. I don't think that's. I think that.
No, I think the issue is only whether or not they're going to have enough in the Senate, to convict. They have to flip a few, but depending on how unpopular.
Now it's like Alaska might flip. They haven't in the last 50 years. Alaska has won 2 Senate races, 2008 and 1974. The Democrat is now, who's kind of more of a populist, but okay. The Democrat is now ahead in the polls in Alaska. That's one the Republicans bank on. And people say, hey, well, it's not like Murkowski's any good. I'm not endorsing Murkowski, but she votes with Republicans more than Democrats.
And if they say, well, if it's at risk now, it's because of the black pillars, not because we might not be.
It's your fault, you Canadian, you Florida Canuck.
No, dude, it's an amazing thing. It is an existential necessity that Trump succeed in this administration, and it's a God-given miracle that he's even here to do it. And that's where this
comes from. Honestly, that's where this comes from. It sounds like we're both kind of on the same page with that. It's like really that's where the criticism comes from. It's because it comes from a place of love. It doesn't come from a place of hate. It comes from a place of love. It's like somebody you love. You want them to succeed. You want them to reach their max potential.
If you wanted them to fail, you would say nothing and let them continue doing what is obviously having its impact.
Or you'd sit there and cheerlead and be a sheeple.
Part of me does wonder what element of sabotage is involved in all of this, but I don't want to get too conspiratorial. I don't want to ask too many crazy questions, but some of it also feels inorganic, like it is something of an organized psyop, for lack of a better word, to lull the administration into failure. But I wouldn't make those accusations specifically without any more concrete evidence. But it's some of it does not feel entirely organic, and some of it feels somewhat maybe manipulated of reality.
And past is prologue, as they say. Mm-hmm. All right, Viva, before we let you go here, I know that you have a big concern, and I want to address this now with you, because I know this is something that you've been really concerned about. Our audience is thinking about. I got a call from Big Hair. And they're considering revoking their support for you. They're looking at me now. They're really looking at the young gun here. They're looking at the young bull. They've been riding with you for a long time. You've been given all the awards for best hair in media. I decided I was going to come for your pedestal there. I'm getting, there's a buzz, Viva. There's a buzz right now. Big Hair is curious. They're looking my way.
You remember, oh geez, what was it? Coming to America, Soul Glow, the Jerry curls.
Yeah, Soul Glow.
Look, I do agree, but it's getting a little ragged. I might have to trim the edges and just rejuvenate. Now, Owen, your hair is looking beautiful. Your beard is looking dark and lush. You'll get how old are you? You're
36.
36. Yeah, so give it another 10 years. Your beard's going to start looking ragged and white. But No, the sea is big enough for two luscious heads of hair.
That's not what I'm hearing. I'm giving you a fair warning. Big hair is they want one. They only want to ride with one right now. They've been riding with you for a long time. And now that Harmeet Dillon has called you a black pillar and identified you as a Canadian podcaster, they're starting to feel it's bad for their brand. They're looking for something a little more on brand right now. And so I just wanted to give you fair warning. You know, I'm a fair fighter here. I'm a fair fighter, and I just want you to know big hair is starting to look my direction.
Well, you know, I don't know who makes the argan oil that I put in my hair, but I'll go with the Moroccan oil. I'll go get Moroccan oil as a substitute.
The one advantage you have are how often do you get out into the ocean?
I try to go like at least maybe once or twice a week, but I'm like 25 minutes away. So it's
okay. See, you get that ocean hair. You got that, you get the little ocean love for your hair. I don't get that. That's the one advantage you have right now.
No, well, it is, but like people don't understand that you get the nicest curls you wash it, brush it, oil it, go in the ocean, and the salt water is therapeutic. It's healing of the mind, body, and soul. It's once you've lived by the ocean. It's not like the Maine Ocean either, or like the New Brunswick Ocean, which is freezing cold, and you can only use it 1 month a year. It's just, it's totally therapeutic. Just sitting in floating water that's all blue, mesmerizing. It's good. So I try to get out there, but try to do that to relax and detach from the world, but it doesn't happen often enough.
Yeah, I know. We need it. Lord knows we need it now. So we try to do that. All right, having some fun, some big hair jokes. Where else can you get hair jokes? Nowhere. That's where. There's only one place you can get hair jokes, right here on the Owen Report. Hey, Viva, really appreciate you joining us, hopping off of your show, joining us today on short notice. Let people know where they can follow you.
Viva Fry everywhere on the internet. David Fryhead is my real name, but Viva Fry is the internet name. Sunday nights, Viva and Barnes Law for the People across all platforms, and daily on Rumble at 3:00.
There you go. Viva, love you. Nice talk.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Adios. There he goes. Fun stuff. All right. As we said, we had to call that audible with the time zone mix-up, but that was good to get Viva on here. And maybe it was good to kind of de-stress for me a little bit. The news aggregation today was a bit of a piece of work, I will tell you. So I do need I need some hair product sponsor, don't you think? Or maybe I should just come up with my own. I think I need to come up with my own hair product, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. And actually, I'll get Viva on. We'll bring Viva on the team. We'll bring him on team hair product. So, all right, just de-stressing, just depressurizing here before we get into the heavy news. Remember, Sneeko coming up in the third hour today. But as we hit this first break, we're going to come back and get into the news headlines before we're joined by Sneeko in the third hour. So, news is coming up next.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the WIN Network.
I'm sure a lot of people listening to this show right now have pets. And if you have pets, you're probably thinking about, their health. You want them to be healthy. You want them to live as long as possible. And you never know. You never know what might happen as far as things that might make your little furry friend sick. And you certainly don't want it. A lot of things you know about worms, parasites. So we have a solution. It's called Petmectin. For years, we, pet lovers, humans, lovers of life, for years we fought to have access to medicine that we know will help fight COVID for humans. But what about pets? Did you know that ivermectin for pets assists with heartworm prevention in dogs and cats? Also treats intestinal worms, roundworms, hookworms. You hear about this a lot. A lot of pet owners are trying to address this. Not to mention external parasites like mites, very common in pets. Petmectin is 100% pure pharmaceutical grade, human grade ivermectin. This is the highest quality third-party tested and most affordable ivermectin offered in the United States of America. Go to RESOVX.Health. You can see the link right there on the screen. RESOVX, that's RESOLVX.Health for our listening audience. RESOVX.Health. And use coupon code Owen for 10% off. Coupon code Owen10, Owen10, coupon code Owen10 for 10% off. While you're there, you can also find other incredible products like hydroxychloroquine, fenbendazole, and many more. By the way, fenbendazole, Keep that in mind. I think you're going to be hearing a lot more about fenbendazole in the very near future, ladies and gentlemen. So remember that. And remember RESOVX.Health. Research studies and clinical outcomes from the likes of Dr. Makis and Joe Tippin suggest ivermectin combined with fenbendazole, offered by RESOVX.Health as petdazole, may be powerful anti-cancer compounds. Even President Trump used both ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. These products and more are all available at the RESOVX.Health website, and all products ship from within the USA. Go to RESOVX.Health. That's RESOVX.Health, and use coupon code Owen for 10% off.
Extra dimensional and multi-universal. Here's your host, Owen Schroyer.
It could be a show with a bunch of audibles today, which I will admit I'm okay with, because the news was just so heavy. But I've got Ivan Raiklin, who's reaching out, who may want to join the show as well. He was at the hearing today, the Jack Smith hearing, and he got into it with a couple of the January 6th police officers that became, let's say, agents of the Democrat Party. I think that's a fair depiction. But he got into it. He got into it with them. And so maybe worth bringing him on to talk about that exchange. But let's get into the news, and I'll monitor the situation with Ivan, who's continuing to reach out here. So here we go. We'll start with some of the good, some of the light stuff before we get into the heavy stuff. This is certainly good. From the White House, withdrawing the United States from the World Health Organization. So they are taking the United States out of the World Health Organization. Great move by the administration. And they also first got us out of the attempted global government pandemic treaty. And now they're just pulling us out of the World Health Organization altogether. So you got to support that. Got to like that. If we could just get out of NATO, the UN, and all of these other groups next, that'd be wonderful. Trump announced this on his Truth Social today. FCC takes aim at The View, Jimmy Kimmel Live, in fight over equal time rules for politicians. This is an older law, and I don't even like it. I don't like it. To me, this is a violation of the First Amendment. And I don't understand. I mean, I get the purpose, because, the news is corrupt and they want to try to put different borders, let's say, in place to stop the corruption and, partisan news coverage. But this is why you just have to have an informed public. Now, I wonder, and I think this is going to be coming up here shortly, Now, The View, okay, we all know about The View and the dumb bimbos on there and, how everything about them is Democrat Party propaganda. And rumors are Marjorie Taylor Greene's going to join. I don't really think she wants to be honest. I don't even know if they would want her there. It would probably be good for their ratings. So if they did put MTG on The View, their ratings would go from like 3 people watching a day to like maybe 300 or 303. But nonetheless, I'm not really sure if anybody's interested in that. So the FCC is going after it. They announced this today. Now, I'm curious because last night, and maybe I'll just pull this up now. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I'll pull this up now. So last night, Jimmy Kimmel did a bit about Trump's hand. Now, this has been a story for about a year now, I think, with Trump's hand. And he normally puts the makeup on it. He normally cakes a bunch of makeup on it to hide the bruising, but it was so obvious. So then they came out and they said, "Oh, it's from him shaking hands." I don't really think anybody buys that, but that was their excuse, that he was shaking hands. I think it's pretty obvious that this is from they're putting a needle in his hand. It's some intravenous, probably drugs. Now, this doesn't, it might be something alarming. It might not. Plenty of people do intravenous treatment that are perfectly healthy. So there's all kinds of reasons that they could be doing this. But anyway, last night, Kimmel did a bit. It was actually kind of funny. But they did a bit with Trump's hand, and they have the bruising, and his hand is talking. And then they just plop just a big fat lump of makeup on it to cover it up. So I'm wondering if that isn't why he decided to take aim at Jimmy Kimmel. So, but yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that they're injecting him, and that's the injection site, which could lead to a bunch of other questions. I don't buy that that's from shaking hands. And I'm just thinking about this now. Isn't that his left hand? He doesn't shake with his left hand. So would that even make sense? He shakes with his right hand. So I'm not even sure if that makes sense. Well, regardless, I think that maybe it was the Jimmy Kimmel bit last night that made Trump want to post that. Send another shot at Jimmy Kimmel. Now, this is a story from Christopher Rufo, who is, I'd say the right-wing MAGA-based Trump supporters. They like his work. They might not like this one. No white men need apply. The Trump administration awards government contracts on the basis of race and sex. It needs to stop. So basically, promises made, promises kept. Well, not here. They were supposed to be getting rid of all the DEI standards, but apparently not. And it's pretty clear, and Rufo gets into that here with the story. On the campaign trail, President Trump promised to end federal spending on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, yet the government has continued to award contracts based on race and sex. And of course, this is the real systemic racism, and it's against white people. The only systemic racism in this country is against white men. That is the only systemic racism in this country. And I also have this in the stack, but it's at the bottom of the stack. I doubt we'll have time for it. But Tucker Carlson did a piece on this on his show, and it really hit. And again, I'm not a big identity politics guy. I don't, I'm part of the generation that we didn't really think about race. We don't really care about race. It wasn't, it was never a thing for me in school, high school. It is kind of like the post-Obama world, I think, when it really became a thing. So I'm not some big, let's do identity politics. But I have to say, the way Tucker laid it out, it's just true. So there's no denying that the only systemic racism in America is against white men. That's it. You can't find any actual examples of systemic racism against any other group except white men. And these DEI hires and the Trump administration continuing on with that's the proof. White men need not apply. But Tucker took it to another level, and it does hit you. And it's not like I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh, I'm white, I'm scared. No, it's just, hey, this is the reality. This is the truth. What does this mean? What does this represent? What is the impact? So you have the systemic racism, the systemic anti-white bigotry. But then you look at the numbers, and Tucker goes into it on his show and lays it out, and it's just the truth. But because, words have meaning, and then even words and the meaning kind of get propagandized, like the word genocide. And so you think, oh, genocide, you think you're in here bombing people, you're killing people, right? But the truth is, the white race is being genocided. That is, by the numbers, the truth. There hasn't been a single racial group that has seen a significant decrease in its percentage of the population or its representation in the world as white men. And it's shocking when you look at the numbers. And it really shouldn't matter. It really shouldn't matter what color your skin is or what you identify as. It really shouldn't matter. But it's true. The white race is being genocided. The white race is being disappeared. The numbers don't lie, folks. And again, like I said, I have this in the back of my stack, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But when you look at these stories, so it's the systemic racism, it's the systemic anti-white bigotry that we see in government, that we see in the corporate world. It's all there. It's very obvious. And then you actually look at the numbers, and you just see, the white population in the last 50 years has decreased by 60%. That's a pretty alarming rate. I'd say that's a pretty alarming rate, and I'd say that is such an alarming rate that you have to realize it's being done by design. By design. But then, so here's white men. Here's the white race being systemically discriminated against, being slowly but surely erased as a people, erased. And then all the propaganda tells you they're the bad guys. All the propaganda says, oh, it's whites that are your enemy. Whites are doing this. Whites are doing all of this. Whites are the bad guys. And then you actually look at the reality, and the reality is, oh, actually, whites are being systemically purged from everything. Now, remember, they make this big fuss about minorities. Well, I guess now whites are the minority. So do I get all the advantages of being a minority? Do I? It's funny. We talk about giving minorities all of these advantages and all the leg ups and everything else, and the welfare and the concern. But now that whites are the minority, all of a sudden, no, we don't. No. We don't do that for minorities anymore. No. And if you're white out there, you're not allowed to talk about preserving your race. You're not allowed to talk about preserving your heritage, your DNA. You're not allowed to talk about that. Any other group, it's promoted, it's fine, but not whites. How dare you? And now we don't care about minorities either. And so then it's obvious. It was always obvious. But there's more evidence of it now. So they made these arrests. Here's two of them. Chantel Allen and Nakima Armstrong were just arrested by the FBI over the church riot. Oh, what do you know? They were Black Lives Matter activists. Yes. Yes. So it all starts to make more sense now. It all starts to make more sense now. And of course, they targeted that church because it was white. And maybe they had some intel about a pastor or the congregation. And then there was this lunatic. So 3 arrests were made today, including this lunatic who wore his F Trump hat as he was being detained. Now, we'll see what comes of these arrests and these charges. But so there you go. They got 3 of them. Now, we will give them credit where credit is due. But I have to say, this should only be the beginning. If this is the end of the road here, then this is a massive failure. This is a failure of epic proportions. And I'm not the biggest concerned. I know people really want to see Don Lemon perp walked and arrested. And so, I'm not going to push back against that. I already said my piece. But this should be the beginning. They need to bring these people in because, folks, look at these lunatics. You think these people barely have 100 IQ points combined between the 3 of them. What do you think would show up if they took a drug test? Okay? And again, I'm not saying you want to use drugs. I really don't care. The point is, these are not the brains of the operation. Okay? These are the patsies, if you will. These are the useful idiots. Clearly. So you better bring them in. You better bring them in and say, all right, where did you get your funding? Apparently they had $1 million in funding. Where did you get the funding? These guys don't have $1 million. And if they do, where did they get it? Where did you get your funding? Where did you get the text lists, the email lists, the communication infrastructure? How were you able to organize this thing and get everybody to go in that church? And who communicated all of this with Don Lemon, by the way, so that you made sure to have the media there covering it? Because Lemon is kind of fallen out of relevancy after he's been gone from CNN. So, he's looking for something. So he's going to be there. So you need to find out who organized, who funded it, who gave them the text list, the email list, however it was they were able to pull this off. All of this needs to be exposed now. But if this is it, if they just get these 3 people and get them charged, they'll probably be released pretty soon. And then that's it. Then it's kind of a failure, guys. I have to say it's not a total failure, but it's mostly failure. It's mostly failure. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, if you recall, was it earlier this week or last week? Guys, are these days not just flying by? Is it just me? Is it just me, or are the days flying by? I can't remember, but I said earlier this week or last week, I said Bovino needs to be running Homeland Security. Bovino needs to be running this. We need to replace Kristi Noem and put Bovino. This guy's the real deal. So he goes out to the front lines, and he's not messing around. This is the guy who I want running the operations right here. So this is Commander Bovino. He's out there with the men, and pardon my French here, but he ain't fucking around.
I'm in the gas. Get back. Gas coming. Gas is coming. Gas warning. Gas warning. Gas warning. Gas warning. Help. Hey. Gas. 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 You just get back. Get back. Back. I'm in the gas. Get back.
This is the guy I want running ICE. This is the guy I want running Homeland Security. Kristi Noem, you're a sweetheart. You're a doll, whatever. You're not what we need. Okay? We don't need Homeland Security Barbie. All right? If you want to have a communication post, if you want to be a comms director, if you want to model, ICE hats and shirts and sell merchandise, okay. No, we need a man. I'm sorry. And, I thought this was kind of part of the new thing. It was like, hey, we're kind of more traditional conservatives here, and we kind of believe in gender roles. It's not to say that women don't have, equal opportunities and can't do things too. But, there are certain gender roles that I thought we were kind of embracing, and leadership, I thought, was one of them. So, no, it's time. It's time for Greg Bovino to be running these things. I think it's pretty clear. He goes out there, puts his boots on the ground, and he gets in their face, and he does the work. And Kristi Noem is essentially a spokeswoman and a model. So it's nice, Kristi. You're a sweetheart. You're a doll. You can run communications. You can help us sell ICE merchandise, whatever you want. But it's time to have a strong man that puts his neck out there and beats some ass. And so it's time for Bovino. It's time for Bovino. I want boots to asses. That's what I want. I don't want cute press conferences. I don't want Barbie doll ICE dress up time. I want boots to asses. No. I need boots to asses. We need Bovino. It's time for him to run this stuff. Because in case you haven't noticed, these people aren't scared of Kristi Noem. All right? The only person scared of Kristi Noem is the makeup crew. They know they're going to be working triple that day when Noem needs the makeup done. Those are the only people that are scared of Noem, is people that have to work hard to put the makeup on. No, the people that are going to be scared of Bovino, he's not going to spend an hour in makeup and dress up. That's an extra hour for him to be out on the streets beating ass. Oh, you leftist protesters, you're going to get in the way of my men? Oh, you leftist protesters are going to try to stop my men from doing their operations? Here comes the gas. Here comes the gas. Boots to asses. All right, let's get into some of the World Economic Forum stuff. By the way, did you guys see this? This is insane. And this is why I'm just so, I just don't understand this we're celebrating the World Economic Forum now. Marina Abramovich is a featured guest and being promoted out there as a big guest. Marina Abramovich, the Satanist witch. Jack Posobiec snapped this picture. She's performing, guys. She's performing. What is she going to do? A satanic ritual? Is this a joke? And I give credit because it's the Rebel News. It's Rebel News and it's Vox Populi, I believe is the name of it. Rebel News and Vox Populi. And they've got their journalists out there on the streets, and they're still out there putting it to them, asking them the tough questions about the vaccines and everything else, and sticking it to Trudeau. And it's just like, it seems like all the American media is now just licking boots and just slopping it up. And I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? Since when do we like the World Economic Forum? Since when do we celebrate and dance around and take pictures at Davos like we're part of the team now? What the hell is that? That was just, I don't know. I don't get that one. I don't get that one. So I am noticing it seems like, the MAGA people and the American press seem to be just licking it up now. But Rebel News, Vox Populi, they're still out there treating these people like enemies. They're still out there treating these people like dirty globalists. But the American press and now Trump's envoy, it's like, oh, they're just slopping it up. They're promoting it. They're using it as a promotion tool and a stage. James O'Keefe is out there doing his work too. I guess we'll point that out. Yeah, James O'Keefe out there doing. Folks, I got so much news today. I had to scrap the James O'Keefe stuff. Guys, do you ever wonder like, I'm convinced we're in a simulation, and interpret that however you like. God's simulation, but we're in God's creation simulation, however you want to put it. But do you ever think, like, are there real NPCs going around? Like, are these even real people? You know, a non-player character like in a video game. How can James O'Keefe pull this off? He literally goes out there dressed like Liberace on tour, and he gets these people to admit the craziest stuff to him. Like, what do they think this is? Do they think he's like some sort of a gay prostitute that if they say the right thing, they'll be able to take back and, give him the old dirty Sanchez or something? I mean, what is going on? How can he possibly be pulling this stuff off? I'm starting to believe more than anything that NPCs are real. I'm really starting to think NPCs are a real thing. I can't wrap my head around it any other way, honestly. Really can't. So, okay, let's look at some of the things Putin is saying here about the Board of Peace. And he was invited to be on the Board of Peace. He rejected it. Let me just go through these quickly because he's obviously not speaking English here. He's speaking Russian. He says, Putin on Trump's invitation to join the Board of Peace. No problem. We can contribute to Palestinians $1 billion of our own funds that the U.S. froze. And once we resolve the Ukraine problem, the balance of those funds you stole can be used for reconstruction of Palestine. So it sounds like he wants to be a part of it as far as rebuilding it, but he doesn't want to get involved in the politics, and he doesn't want to connect himself to the Trump administration Israel lobby that is really running their agenda there. So he sounds like he's trying to, it's like he doesn't want to commit to being a voice of anybody here. He's just saying, hey, look, we have no problem with being part of this, but we want to make sure that everything done is fair and right. And perhaps because nobody's really representing Palestine there. It's all either Israelis or Jewish people that are on the board. And I guess now Qatar, but there's no Palestinians there. So more of your from Putin. President Putin sets a red line. Palestine first. Vladimir Putin takes a stand. Russia will not join any Board of Peace unless the rights of the Palestinian people are fully guaranteed under UN resolutions. No compromise on Palestinian sovereignty and long-term stability. Russia pledges $1 billion for peace in Gaza and the Middle East, funded directly from the Russian assets stolen by the U.S. So he's basically saying, hey, you already stole our money, so we're already contributing. We share a special and historic relationship with the Palestinian people. Putin isn't just joining the table, he's setting the terms. So, okay, Putin is playing nice guy with Trump on Greenland and then playing thorn in the side as far as Palestine is concerned. And then Putin even met with the president of Palestine. You can see right here, Putin met with the president of the state of Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas, who was just in the Kremlin. Now, the seizures of oil tankers continue, and this time it's France. France seizes suspected Russian Shadow Fleet oil tanker in the Mediterranean. So the continued, I don't know, Cold War, how do you want to put it, against Russia continues. Now it's France seizing their ships. How about France, though? France growing a spine? I don't know. You almost love to see it. I don't really like what they're doing here. I don't really like this geopolitical force against Russia. But France finds the backbone again? Okay. Let's not forget the French were a major part of the American Revolution. So, all right, France. It's been a while. Not sure if I like this move, but it's okay. There they are. Yeah, we didn't know. We thought they were invertebrate over there. We thought the French were invertebrate, but now they are seizing Russian oil tankers. Going after Russia? I did not have that on my bingo card. That's a rare one. So then we get back to the issue in Gaza. So This is a long clip. I really don't want to play the.
So we did a master plan. Thank you, Kirgabay.
Let's just get into some of this here. This is Jared Kushner talking about their master plan that they that was the stand down on October 7th was part of it. They planned this before that. They knew it was going to happen. They stood down. So this is Kushner, who, remember, he got pissed off when Witkoff basically admitted it. So here's Kushner talking about the master plan. This is what they announced today after they officially signed the Board of Peace at the WEF in Davos.
So we did a master plan. We brought in, I thank you, Kirgabay, who's one of the most successful real estate developers and brilliant people I know. He's volunteered to do this, not for profit, really because of his heart. He wants to do this. And we've developed ways to redevelop Gaza. Gaza is President.
Yes, yeah, right, guys. Yeah, not for profit. And then they sit here and they talk about all the money they're going to make. It's quite hilarious.
Trump's been saying has amazing potential, and this is for the people of Gaza. We've developed it into zones. In the beginning, we were toying with the idea of saying, let's build a free zone, and then we have a Hamas zone. And then we said, you know what, let's just plan for catastrophic success. Hamas signed a deal to demilitarize. That is what we are going to enforce. People ask us what our plan B is. We do not have a plan B. We have a plan. We signed an agreement. We are all committed to making that agreement work. There's a master plan. We'll be doing it in phasing. In the Middle East, they build cities like this in 2-3 million people. They build this in 3 years. And so stuff like this is very doable if we make it happen. Rothel will start with. This will show a lot of workforce housing. We think this could be done in 2-3 years. We've already started removing the rubble and doing some of the demolition. And then New Gaza. It could be a hope. It could be a destination.
Oh, we've already started with the demolition in Gaza? I had no idea. Guys, did you know that they were demolishing Gaza? I hadn't heard. I hadn't seen. Wow. How did they do that?
Have a lot of industry, and really be a place that the people there can thrive, have great employment. Once this starts going, we think there should be 100% full employment and opportunity for everybody there. And we have a lot of data on what can be, but we think that this really gives the Gazan people an opportunity to live their aspirations. But it all starts with security, and it all starts with governance. Final note I'll just say on the Board of Peace, which is that all the lessons we're doing is we're basically studying the best practices from all over the world, and we're watching who does education the best, who does healthcare delivery the best. All of these things it's not secret IP. All this is IP that the Board of Peace is going to make public, and we want to encourage all the countries to be able to follow these best practices. A lot of the things that President Trump is doing in America, if they're working, we should all be copying them. If we find what's working in other countries, we should be copying them too. And so what the Board of Peace will have the ability to do if we're sexful with Gaza is really...
Whoa, sexful. Whoa, hey, come on now. Easy. That's enough. I'm out now. I don't want to hear about any of that. So there you go. Now, they talk about Gaza as if the world didn't just watch Israel flatten it. They talk about Gaza as if the world didn't just witness the military demolition of their master plan, which the October 7th stand down was the doorway, was the green light into it. So they act like, oh, yeah, let's just pretend that didn't happen. It's like, oh, so here's some of the people of Palestine reminding you that, there was infrastructure there. There was a city there. This is what Gaza looked like before Israel demolished it with all of the bombs, thanks to, unfortunately, the support of the United States. So they act like this didn't exist. They act like there was no Palestine, there was no Gaza, none of this existed, it wasn't there. And they're just coming in and building something that was once a wasteland. No, you guys, you destroyed it. You demolished it. You stood down on October 7th, and then you demolished it with the military, and now you're bringing in your own people to build a new civilization that you guys are going to have all of that nice beachfront property. I mean, let's just call it what it is. I'm okay. Hey, if you support that, if you like that, let's just be fair here. Let's just be honest here. Let's be transparent here, but let's call it as it is. So they do the Board of Peace. I didn't realize this. The whole Board of Peace thing is weird, by the way. So they're all signing the Board of Peace. Like, this thing became official overnight. The logo looks like they rushed it, though. I will say the logo is a little patchy, let's say. So they're all there signing the Board of Peace. So this thing just comes out of nowhere. Now they're signing it. Now it's some official institution. And they're signing it at the World Economic Forum. Boy, that happened fast. And Israel, Netanyahu, is on the Board of Peace. This is a joke, or I'm not laughing. Israel agrees to join Trump's board of peace as some European nations say no. So as Netanyahu and Israel join the board of peace, they're literally bombing and killing people. As they say, hey, we're on the board of peace, they are literally bombing and killing people as they're joining the board of peace. You can't make this stuff up. Now, by the way, Netanyahu didn't go. Why didn't Netanyahu go to the board of peace signing? Why wasn't he there? Wanted for war crimes, Netanyahu skipped signing of board of peace charter at Davos. He thought he would get arrested. Netanyahu didn't show up because he thought he would get arrested for war crimes. This is such clown world. It's like, I thought we were leaving the clown world. It's like you just had that doctor with Josh Hawley. It's like, can a man get pregnant? Why wasn't that woman institutionalized? That woman needs to be put in a rubber room. How does a doctor not know that a man can't get pregnant? Of course she does, but she doesn't want to say it. So no, institutionalize her. Oh, you think a man can get pregnant? We're sending you to the funny farm. We're putting you in a rubber room in a straitjacket until you can figure this out. But no, so clown world is still here. Netanyahu's on the board of peace as he's killing multiple people, and he won't go to Davos because he's afraid he's going to be arrested for war crimes. You can't make this stuff up. You can't write a more ridiculous geopolitical comedy here. Now, look at this. Remember, we talked about the strike on those journalists and the Egyptian relief team that Israel just killed because they had cameras. The one weapon that Israel fears more than anything is a camera and public awareness of what they're doing. 3 journalists killed in Israeli airstrike in Gaza. Folks, this is where it gets truly sick, including a cameraman who worked with CBS News. Paging Barry Weiss. Barry Weiss, the $150 million woman who embarrassed herself on Joe Rogan as a fop, as a bimbo fop, the pro-Israel, I'm here to control the new CBS News operation for Israel's interest. And one of CBS's cameramen just got killed by Israel. I wonder if Barry Weiss will say anything about that. I wonder if Barry Weiss has any issue with a CBS cameraman getting killed by Israel. Or will she be silent? Will she shut her mouth because the whole operation is about Israel? The whole operation is about being pro-Israel. The whole operation is about making sure that there's pro-Israel content in the American media. How sick is that? CBS cameraman killed by Israel, and Barry Weiss won't say anything. Hey, guys, Israel just joined the board of peace as they bomb 4 Syria-Lebanon border crossings, killing 2. Very peaceful of them. Very peaceful. Now, folks have dug this clip up. You know what? It's almost like I don't even give you the context. I think you just watch and listen for yourself. Benjamin Netanyahu, 2018.
By the way, what are we doing with Greenland? We got to do something with Greenland. Where's my advanced team? Go to Greenland. They must have some satellite needs or something that we could do there. But we're coloring the world blue. By the way.
Oh, and by the way, so it was always Netanyahu's plan to take Greenland. So now here we are. So I guess I'm out. I'm done with Greenland. It's too bad. It's like we just can't have anything. We can't have anything that's not for Israel. It's like, can we just have something that's for America? No, it's always for Israel. Get Maduro out. He's anti-Israel. Take Greenland. Netanyahu wants it. They just signed the speech laws in Australia. Notice he says, we're turning all of them blue. He has Australia there. Israel has essentially, philosophically, for all intents and purposes, conquered Australia. So here's Netanyahu. We're taking Australia. We're taking Venezuela. We're taking Greenland. So this is all you get, America. You just did everything for Israel, everything they want. You get to bomb the Gaza Strip and then put Netanyahu on the board of peace. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So I guess I'm out on Greenland now, which is just too bad. It could have been good. It could have been good for America, but it's not for us. It's for Netanyahu. honestly, you see this. It's kind of like with the NPC thing. You're like, okay, how many of you guys are just NPCs? And now it's like, how many of you guys are blackmailed by Israel? I mean, seriously, how many of you guys are just straight up blackmailed by Israel or the intelligence agencies or Netanyahu, however you want to put it? How many of you? How many of you? Is it all of you? Is it all of you? What kind of sick crap have you guys done? What kind of sick crap, perverted crap have you guys done? So I guess I'm out. I guess I'm out now. I was hoping we could get one thing. I was hoping there was one thing that Trump was doing. I was hoping there was one geopolitical thing that this administration was doing that was for America. And then every time you just dig and eventually you hit the same damn thing. Oh, it's for Israel. Oh, it's for Netanyahu. Oh, it's for the foreign and special interests. So guess I'm out. I guess I'm out on Greenland. I was promised 3,000 Greenlander wives. I was promised 3,000 Greenlander wives that I was going to put in Handmaid's Tale outfits, and but it wasn't for me. It was for Israel to get all the natural resources and more geopolitical power. So I guess I'm out. Guess I'm out, guys. Really too bad. Really too bad. Well, guess who did show? Zelensky showed. Zelensky showed up. What an idiot this guy is. He takes the podium after he takes a shovel full of snow to his face. He takes the podium and attacks Trump. What an idiot.
Last year, most of the time was spent talking about long-range weapons for Ukraine. And everybody said that the solution was within range. Now, no one is even talking about it. But Russian missiles and Shaheeds are still here. And we still have the coordinates of the factories where they are made. Today, they target Ukraine. Tomorrow, it could be any NATO country. And here in Europe, we are advised.
And Ukraine isn't a NATO country, you liar, you thief.
Not to mention tomahawks. Not to mention tomahawks to the Americans.
Tomahawks. Tomahawks.
Not to spoil the mood. Anyway, I told not to bring up Taurus missiles. When the subject is Turkey, diplomats say don't offend Greece. When it's Greece, they say be careful with Turkey. In Europe, there are... All
right, I'm sick of you. Bye. Let's go to Elon Musk. Elon Musk spoke at the World Economic Forum. He had some interesting things to say. First, talking about AI.
I don't know what's going to happen in 10 years, but the rate at which AI is progressing, I think we might have AI that is smarter than any human by the end of this year, and I would say no later than next year. Wow. And then probably by 2030 or 2031, call it 5 years from now, AI will be smarter than all of humanity collectively. I don't know what.
It's an interesting paradox because it's hard to say that Musk is wrong about this theory or this conclusion. It's hard to say that he's wrong. But at the same time, it's like how there is no artificial intelligence. What intelligence is there without human intelligence? It's like how can it have any intelligence without human intelligence? So I don't know. I think I understand what he's saying, and I think that's why he's kind of, it's like he's trying to choose his words. He doesn't really know how to say it. But my interpretation is, at this rate, artificial intelligence, if they can have the quantum computing and the energy to do it, You're basically talking about data moving at speeds that the human brain cannot compete with, essentially. So it'll be like a hard state. It's like a hard state hard drive where it's like everything is cemented. It's like all knowledge that exists, all data points, everything that exists will be stored in this AI brain, and it can access it instantaneously. There is no process. It's just instant. And then what happens? It goes quantum, and then it just can't be stopped. It's infinite. Oh, just the Terminator, total dystopia here. That's what we're talking about. Sounds great. So let's keep that going, huh? Let's just let AI take over. Total iRobot world, huh? That'll be fun.
I heard about the formation of the Peace Summit, and I was like, is that PIEC? Little piece of Greenland, a little piece of Venezuela.
we got one.
All we want is peace.
Okay, I'm going to...
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. That sounds like Elon Musk kind of giving them a little bit of a little titty twister, huh? It's like, oh, yeah, the Peace Summit. Like, yeah, we're just going to take a piece of every country we want. That's good from Elon. That's good. I get a lot of trouble because I kind of, Elon has an approval rating for me of above 50%. I'd say Elon is at an approval rating of 53% for me today. 53%. So you know how it goes, guys, with me. Approval rating, 50% is neutral, below 50% negative, above 50% positive. And I don't waver too much above or below 50. But no, I get a lot of trouble. I've explained why I like Elon, and he has a good approval rating. And that's fine. People disagree, and they think I'm wrong, or they have a different opinion. That's fine. I accept that. I get it. I know. But every once in a while, he reminds you. To me, every once in a while, he reminds us that, hey, he's not with them. Like, he might be with himself. He may or may not be with us, but he's not with them. He's not. It's like, yeah, oh, the peace board? Like, yeah, we're going to take a piece of every country? That's good stuff. That's good stuff. So now this is just weirdness from Elon, but I like it. Whatever. I don't know if is he joking? I don't know. Maybe not. Let's listen.
I'm often asked, are there aliens among us? And I'll say that I am one, but
or you're from the future.
They don't believe me.
Okay.
But I think if anyone would know if there are aliens among us, it would be me. We have 9,000 satellites up there, and not once have we had to maneuver around an alien spaceship. So I'm like, I don't know. Bottom line is, I think we need to assume that life and consciousness is extremely rare, and it might only be us. And if that's the case, then we need to do everything possible to ensure that the light of consciousness is not extinguished. I'm often asked.
So that's a bit of a paradox too, when you talk about what could happen with AI, quantum computing, and then, well, what if it extinguishes that light of life? Is that not a real threat? I'm already getting the hate. I'm already getting the hate in my private text. I'm already getting the hate in the chats. I need to resist Elon. Hey, folks, I get it. I know. Hey, sometimes I have unpopular opinions. It's okay. It's all right. I can handle it. You disagree. You think I'm wrong on that. That's okay. We're not in a cult here. Elon's approval rating with me, 53%. But who else? Tell me, is there any other billionaire? Is there anybody in the centi-billionaire class that cherishes life and talks about that? Is there? I don't think so. I don't see it. I don't hear it. They all seem to say the opposite. They all seem to want to get rid of life. They want to get rid of humans. Elon likes having babies. So I don't know. Is he an alien? Is he a time traveler? I don't know. Maybe he's a robot, actually. By the way, on the Zelensky front, they rushed him off the stage. By the way, I pulled this one off of the just for the sake of time. The Israeli president, the president of Israel, was speaking at Davos. He got booed. He got booed off the stage. And then they basically gave Zelensky the hook.
Maybe last question, because I know you also need to go back to Kiev. It was not interesting with me. Yes.
Your people is behind you and showing my.
Yeah, no, we don't want to hear from you. Please leave. Please go. We don't like you warmongers. I guess if there's any, the crowd there didn't like the president of Israel, and the crowd there didn't like the tyrant of Ukraine. So the people are, they're waking up. They're waking up. They don't want to see these warmongers. They don't want to see them. All right, let's see what we have left. We've got some clips here from the Jack Smith hearing. There was some drama there today. But let me do this. We're probably going to do maybe a little extended time today. So let's do this. By the way, you had the intelligence assets that they're trying to get into Iran and Venezuela meeting today. You had Marina Machado and Paula Reza, who's done like 6 Fox News interviews. They're always on Fox News. And so this is who they're trying to put in charge of Iran and Venezuela. But, it doesn't seem that Trump is really with that plan. But here they are doing photo ops and meetings, so they're still the intelligence assets that they're trying to put in power there. But it seems that Trump is resisting that, at least to a certain degree. Now, Iran is reporting they did a forensic analysis of the dead kids at the protests, and they said that the bullets they found in the kids were Israeli bullets. Israeli bullets found inside bodies of Iranian children killed in riots. The Iranian supreme leader held that the U.S. and Israel directly responsible for the violence that swept the Islamic Republic. And so they go on here. They cover it all and how they found the bodies and examined the bullets and determined that they were Israeli. You take it with a grain of salt, believe it, don't believe it. They're all liars. The problem is, how can you not? And it makes it easy, too, for Iran. So if they are lying, and maybe they will, maybe they are, I don't know. It's like, if Iran is lying about that, then boy, oh boy, Israel has really made it hard for anybody not to believe it. Because when you see the callousness and the celebration of all the dead kids in Palestine, the celebration that all the Israeli loyalists and the Israelis, not all Israelis, they protested every day. But the freaks, you know who you're talking about, the freaks, the Randy Fines, the Laura Loomers. When you see them celebrating the death and destruction, like blood is dripping out of their mouth, it wouldn't surprise anybody that Israel would kill kids. It wouldn't surprise anybody that Israel would kill children, because they're doing it. They just did it for years in the Gaza Strip. So it's like, it's not that hard to believe that Israel would kill children. Now, again, I'm not saying I trust Iran. They could be lying about this. They could be making this up entirely. They could have shot those kids. But it's like, hey, who's been killing the most kids for the last 2 years? Well, that'd be Israel, wouldn't it? Yeah, sure would. All right. The U.S. said to be considering pulling troops out of Syria. Did you know we even had troops in Syria? Why do we have troops in Syria? We were told we weren't going to have boots on the ground. And yet we do. And yet we do. That regime change didn't go so well either, did it? No. Didn't go so well. All right, we are about to take our second break, and we are going to get Sneeko on the show. On the other side of this break, I was actually talking to my mom last night, and she tries to catch the show when she can. I think sometimes I might be a little too much, even for my own mother. So she gets concerned about me. She asked me, she said, Owen, are you drinking too much coffee? Are you drinking too much coffee? Is that why you are the way you are when you're on the show? And I said, no, I'm not drinking too much coffee, because you can't drink too much Blackout Coffee. It's not possible. Well, it may be. Be careful. I don't want anybody saying, he said I could drink as much as I want. Well, okay, calm down. No, folks, Blackout Coffee is the official coffee of the Owen Report. And I can't help but tell you The instant coffee is just incredible. They got a sale going on right now. You can see the volume discount, 15% off 1 box, 20% off 2 boxes, 25% off 3 boxes. I actually got the 3 boxes. I have 3 boxes of instant coffee. So I'm set. If you're crazy, or maybe you've got an office of coffee drinkers, this is the deal right here. 30% off 4 boxes of the instant coffee. If you run an office, you've got a workspace, you've got employees, they're there every day, they like coffee. Give this a shot. Bring in the instant coffee. Let them drink the instant coffee. They're going to love it. And it's premium instant coffee. So they don't have to worry about brewing it and cleaning up afterwards, the mess, the headache, all of it. 30% off 4 boxes of premium instant coffee right now from blackoutcoffee.com. And if you're concerned and you're saying, oh, and no. My employees at my office, they are coffee snobs. They don't want instant coffee. Instant coffee is watered down. It doesn't taste like coffee. They're not gonna like that. Wrong-o. Give it a try. If you just want to try it, just go for 1 box. Just go for 1 box, give it a try. But you're going to find out I'm right. I'm telling you, folks, they don't call it premium instant coffee for no reason. It tastes like any other cup of coffee. It really does. I know you can't believe me, but I'm telling you, give it a try for yourself. And it's instant. If you love coffee, what sounds better than instant coffee? Nothing except premium instant coffee from blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. Take advantage of this sale right now at blackoutcoffee.com/Owen, the official coffee of the Owen Report.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the WIN Network.
It's the fastest 3 hours on the internet. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, guys, the drama from Boys Night Out continues. You can't believe it. And of course, it's the age-old lesson. You know, if you just let things happen and then leave it be, you don't make it a bigger issue. But now they just couldn't let it happen, and so they're trying to cancel people. And they're even trying to ban one of the individuals, Sneeko, who was there, from Miami Beach. And you may have heard me yesterday. I said, I will fly out to Miami Beach if Sneeko dares, if he dares to show up in Miami Beach where the wall kisser told him he's not allowed to be. I'd fly out there and I'd walk with him for free speech. So Sneeko joins me now. And Sneeko, I want to... obviously most people kind of know the story, and I know you've been addressing it a lot with your show, and there's been some recent developments, maybe some interpersonal drama if you want to get into that. But my depiction of the original moment, and I don't know if you kind of had the same attitude heading into 2026, but the way politics was going into 2026, my attitude was, okay, 2026 is the year of we're triggering them again. We're triggering them. We're mogging them. We want them to freak out. Like, we want them to do exactly what we anticipate them to do, to just show we know exactly who they are and what they are and then how to trigger them. So when you guys started playing that song, was that in your mind? Was that the idea? Was that the approach? It's like, hey, if we play this, we know we're going to send all of these people into conniption fits? Or was it just, hey, we're just having fun, whatever, it's a song? Or did you even think about it at all?
Thanks for saying that stuff. I would love to pull up to Miami Beach with you and walk around and see if we can see if the mayor is going to be there. I just saw a news clip. We're making a video right now, and he's on TV saying like they should go visit the Holocaust Museum, which is right down the street from the club.
Wow. Who could have predicted that?
Hopefully they don't bulldoze down the club and turn it into a Holocaust museum. But what was I thinking? I mean, look, so I was there for 5 weeks in Spain. I was living with Ye when the song was being made. I love the song. It's a great song. I'm going to keep on playing it. I hope people can play it as well. Ye, he's not promoting that anymore. You know, he's not really on that trajectory, but undeniably that's, I think, the best song of the year sonically, but also just the message. And you're right. We're mogging everybody. JD Vance is a subhuman. We need to mog all 2026. And that was my idea. So that song is like it's a fuck you to anybody who's getting their panties in a bunch and this song is punk rock. It's funny that they're looking at Gen Z and they're finger wagging and pearl clutching, but it's like if you look at the Gen X in the 80s and 90s, they were there. You know, Sid Vicious had a swastika on. They were playing punk music. They were there in grungy basements. They were rejecting. They were saying "F you," you know, God save the Queen. It was all rejection and antichrist. It was the rejection of what you're supposed to follow. And so you see this song and it has 3 words, nigga, Heil Hitler, that don't really make sense. It's a paradox. And listen to the beginning of the song. He's saying like, okay, you're going to take my kids. You're going to take my bank account. Well, if you're going to say this all about me, you're going to make me into the villain. I'm going to be the villain. I'm going to say exactly what you're saying that I am. Like Eminem said the same thing in the early 2000s. I am whatever you say I am. So I like the song. I didn't play it thinking it was going to be an international news story. As soon as Nick Fuentes decided that he wanted to go to the club with us, and we're all going there. I said this when we're walking in there. It's on stream. I'm like, this is going to be a lot of headlines. Like, it's funny that everyone there didn't really seem to understand how it was going to be perceived. I think as we were caught up in the moment, we weren't thinking that deep. But I'm like, yeah, this alone, these people going to the club is going to be a major news story. And then, I'm all about doubling down. People are tired of seeing the apologies. Yeah. We're sick of seeing the groveling. And it's just like when you get pressured like that, just double down.
Well, and there's only one way we win this culture war. And in my view, and it's like, look, Owen Schroyer and Sneeko probably don't see eye to eye on every issue. That's okay. We don't live in a cult. I've got plenty of friends I disagree with all the time. It's fun. You talk shit. You have disagreements. It's part of life. It makes you a better person, I think. But I see this as this is the pro free speech culture movement. This is the America First, which is kind of turning into America Only political movement. And it's the younger generation of Americans that we still have these older generations that are leaving us with a more corrupt society, a more corrupt civilization, a more corrupt government, more war, more destruction. And we're just sitting here saying, okay, if you're not going to let us have our moment, if you're not going to let us come of age, then we're going to set the standards. We're not letting you guys set the standards anymore. Look at the standards you've set us with. Record high debt. People can't afford houses. They can't afford rent. Record high mortgage fraud, or record high mortgage default, record high car repossessions, record high credit card default, record high student loan default, more war, more death, more destruction, less opportunity, less ownership. So we're saying we don't like what you've left us with. And if you're going to sit here and try to nitpick us over free speech, then screw you. We're leaning in. We are the new American generation. We are the future. This is the world we want to live in. This is the America we want to live in, and we want to leave for our lineage, not what you left for us. So to me, it's a free speech issue. It's a pro-America issue. And I do think that most of the younger generation probably feels the way we feel about this, whether you agree with Sneeko's geopolitical opinions or anybody that was there that day, or whether you hate the song or love the song. This is about the younger generations taking a stand saying, we're not going to be bullied. We're not going to let some wall kisser tell us what we can and can't listen to.
Mm-hmm. Then you look at the Miami Beach mayor. It's like people tell you that you have to have undying allegiance to this establishment that left us with the debt crisis. Gen Z average debt's $94,000. And then you see the Miami Beach mayor get on TV just absolutely seething. He looks like Watto from Star Wars Phantom Menace. I want
a DNA test. I think he's Dave Portnoy's dad. They look exactly the same.
I don't know what he is, but
complain about the same stuff.
Yeah, it's the same rhetoric we hear, like disgusting, vile, and then you see pictures online, and you're right, he's literally wall kisser. He's wearing the Star of David on his Air Force Ones, terrible drip. He's taking APAC money. It's like this is the guy that's going to moral police me. Miami Beach and clubbing, this is a degenerate activity already. Everyone here in the club, they're all on drugs or drunk, and they're there to go have sex with prostitutes. It's the OnlyFans capital of America. Yeah. I like James Fishback, and he wants to impose an OnlyFans tax. Seems like he's actually bringing some sort of Christian value. Him running for governor. But I mean, you pointed it out, Owen. We're tired of being pearl clutching and seeing the finger wagging at the people that ruined this country, that took away all of what it is to be American and to be in a world power. And this is America. Listening to a song like this is pro free speech. It is the founding fathers dumping the tea into the ocean. You say, okay, you want to tax us? We're going to go flip over your boats. It's a rejection of everything you're not allowed to say. And it's silly. I mean, niggas didn't Heil Hitler. That this is ridiculous. People are saying that it's inciting violence. Are you kidding me? Everybody there, we're all mixed race. Look at me. They say, Matt Walsh says I'm an Islamic communist. Online, they call me black, and the black people say I'm too white. They say I'm everybody's confused. And I think the new generation, what they're afraid of is that they don't have the same feeling of allegiance to political parties the way former generations did. When I was growing up, people would just vote all the way down the ballot, all Democrat or all Republican, because they had allegiance. This is my party and this is what I believe in. And then you look now and someone like Clavicular is saying, no, JD Vance is fat. Like he's subhuman. I don't like this guy. And Gavin Newsom mogs him. Or if I say something positive about Mamdani, which I know we have some sort of disagreements about, I didn't vote for the guy and I'm not a socialist, but he just introduced universal childcare in New York City. So people who have children that are 2 years old can apply for universal childcare. And I think that's a good thing. If Trump introduced that, everybody would be cheering and applauding, but he does this. And you're told that you're supposed to despise him because he says he's a democratic socialist. So I'm a rejecter of any sort of these political labels or anything. I'm like, Matt Walsh is trying to call me a communist. But I mean, at the same time, he works for a wall kisser. It's like, why am I listening to you.
Do
They say
you
you're
identify as a
alt-right.
communist? Do you reject that?
Reject what?
Are you a communist?
No, I'm not a part of any political party. I'm not part of any of these labels. Are ridiculous to me. I want to vote in somebody who I think, like James Fishback. I just had him on my show. I like everything he said. Right, and he's a conservative. I think he's part of the Republican Party. So, like, I like Thomas Massey. But other than that, like, as long as people are saying things that I could resonate with, I'll show support. But I'm not going to show
the identity, because I'm with you. I don't like being put in these boxes. You can't put people in boxes anymore. You can't put the younger generation in boxes. I think if there's one label that I will accept, it's I'm anti-establishment. I am anti-establishment and maybe just anti-government. But I look at something, the polls just came out. The younger generations are more independent than any other generation in American modern political history. We identify as independent more than anybody else. And as far as policies, it used to be something where you'd say, well, I identify with Republican policy or I identify with Democrat policy. But I think what a lot of people that supported Trump, which I believe you did, you voted for Trump, right?
In 16, I didn't vote. In 24, I didn't vote.
So, but we look at it now. I'm somebody that voted for Trump, and I'm like, okay, I probably identify more with Republican policies. But the problem is, it seems like no matter who you vote for, there really is no difference in policies. It's like all these politicians say these things and they're going to do all these things, and then they end up doing the exact same thing for the most part as the last politician, with some minor policy differences, maybe some major ones, but it's still going in the same direction.
It's the same thing.
More war, more less for us and more for them. And so I think that that's where things are going. And, I don't like the idea of government getting involved. Like, you talk about this plan that Mamdani has for childcare. And I would say, hey, I don't want government involved. But I would also say, hey, they just came out with the latest stats, and I'm sure these numbers will be argued. But the most data, the best press data that we've seen indicates that the United States has given $352 billion to Israel. Say in the last 30 years. I don't remember the exact date, but it's about 30 years, $350 billion. And I'm saying, okay, I don't like big government spending. I don't like government getting involved in any of these things, but I'll tell you this, I would rather spend $350 billion on healthcare for Americans than I would for Israel. I'd do that. I'd vote for that 100 times out of 100.
Yeah, so it's ridiculous that I see people say, like, oh, you're a democratic socialist for thinking that it's good that kids can have access to childcare. And then you have to support, regime change in Venezuela. You have to support regime change in Iran. You need to go support these wars, which we've seen the repeated mistakes over and over again. And from my perspective, I grew up during the Iraq War. I don't want to see the same mistakes made again. A lot of people from the Trump movement, they're celebrating, oh, look, Venezuela was so successful. And then Trump is flexing on Truth Social that what did they get from the oil? $1.8 billion. You look at how much money we're sending to Israel. This doesn't even cover, it doesn't even cover the transaction fees.
They just gave another $3 billion, I think, last week.
So I guess we need to invade Venezuela, 3 more Venezuelas, and to recoup the costs. This is not a major win, so people are sick of this stuff.
Yeah. What about your audience? I imagine your audience is probably younger. Do they even like politics? Do they even really care about politics, or do they just want you out there mogging and pushing back against the corrupt establishment?
The mogging thing is clout. I'm not a looks max or anything. I talk about. I have my show. I saw your Scarface outfit out there. Come on, don't act like you weren't mogging. Sometimes, you have to put it. Sometimes you got to pop out and show niggas. You got to show niggas what's going on. But I do my political show. I do a lot of interviews. I go out at IRL. I guess but other than that, I do. Yeah, just now the Iranian news. I just saw this literally right before logging in for your show here. They put me on and called me a American analyst. And it was responding to my coverage of the Iranian protests and how Mike Pompeo, the CIA director during Trump's first administration, he tweeted saying that the protests in Iran are controlled by CIA and Mossad. He's saying that these protests have been controlled. The Mossad are walking side by side with the protesters. I was covering that, and Iran is showing that to their citizens. So people are putting me in all these different categories. And that, to go back to your point, this is why I reject all these labels, is because if you look at it from any people, like Iran, they're calling me an American analyst. Matt Walsh is saying that I'm from Haiti, and then you see the Miami Beach mayor is saying I'm a Nazi. I'm literally, from every angle you get, as soon as you have an opinion, people are going to try to box you in. And I think that that's all a control mechanism. It's a way to prevent you from thinking freely.
Well, and again, when I first talked to you, and I think maybe it's the same story with Clavicular, who I think is younger than you by a couple of years. It's like when I kind of was first introduced to your content, it was like you're not even really trying to necessarily be political. It's like eventually maybe everything finds some tie to politics, but it's like you're not out here trying to make some big political statement or movement. And I think you could obviously with Clav, you know, this is a guy who does looks maxing and all the stuff that he's been doing for years. And now it's like he's forced to make political statements. Like it's like the Streisand effect. It's like, here's a guy out here who just does looks maxing and goes out and buys a pimp cane as a joke. And then you try to bully him and shut him up over some geopolitical opinion that he may or may not even have. And so now he's like, oh, okay, really? Well, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to say what you don't want me to say.
Right. I agree with you. It's not like I'm a part of any party. It's just I'm just a real guy. You know, I don't want to see more war. War is bad. You know, I don't want to see us make the same mistakes. I care about my country. I want to put America first before foreign nations. You know, if I just follow these principles and then you get dragged into these conversations and they try. And, you know, the annoying thing is when you see from the traditional GOP, I'm sure you've seen this, like the Daily Wire types, they will say, oh, this song is too far. This song, you need to, Patrick Bet-David and his sidekicks will say, how could you do this? This song is horrible. It's not funny. It's inappropriate. But then they will also try to gain a populist movement by dunking on trans people all the time and talking about how disgusting they are and say, oh, gay people, they just draw the line only when a song criticizes what is controlling them. But everything else, they can make fun of black people. Matt Walsh can make am I racist? He could make fun of low IQ Somalis. But as soon as there's a song that crosses that line, now they're all upset. Now it's hurting their feelings. And so, no, it's like you don't get to do this anymore. Facts don't care about your feelings.
Ooh. Whoa. Using their own words against them. Well, I think it was you that made the point in one of your streams after the boys' night out, which is just so true. There's just no denying it. You can play music at the club that promotes drug dealing and killing cops and gang banging. You know, they just had, it was Nicki Minaj. They just had her at one of the Turning Point USA events recently. There was a Nicki Minaj song that popped up on my radio, and she's talking about, you know, getting blasted. I'm not going to, you know, go into detail, but she's talking about, you know, clapping cheeks, getting blasted. And I'm like, hey, I don't care, whatever. We're listening to music. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But it's just like, yeah, this is the only thing. Like, this is the one thing. This is the one place you're not allowed to go. And of course, it was Voltaire that said, if you want to find out who controls you, who owns you, find out who you're not allowed to criticize. So nobody's rejecting that philosophy. We all seem to embrace that philosophy for centuries now. So it's like, yeah, I guess it still remains true.
Right. And they don't seem to realize that by, you know, banning me, they call me up, and former friends are now calling me up and saying, I just banned you from every hospitality group in America. So it's like, okay.
What was that? Steiny, you said? What's his name? Steinberg?
Steiny he denies it, but he tweeted saying that he wanted to give $1,000 to everybody who brigades the club with 1-star reviews. And then he's like, oh, I'm trolling. What I think is when his lawyer called him up and said, actually, no, that's illegal. You got to take that down. And so now he's just joking around. But yeah, Steiny wanted to destroy the club's reputation. And another former friend of mine, you could guess what type of person he is. Well, he's a Jew. He's an Israeli Zionist. And I look past that. I can be friends with different people. He didn't like the clip. He got upset, called me up on stream and said, I'm banning you from every hospitality group. And then the next day, these people are like asking me to come on their stream and, hey, let's go talk about this. You know, I'll come on yours because, you know, you have good intentions and stuff. This guy literally said, I'm not friends with you anymore. I'm banning you everywhere. But now I also want clout from you. And this is how a lot of these people operate.
Well, it's a weird world. I think the streaming world, the media world.
But he wasn't this guy wasn't a streamer. He's a club promoter. You know, a former friend of mine. He has nothing to do, and he's literally using this to catapult his career. I mean, I'm not trying to give it more attention than it deserves, but this is just how it is now. And you said if you want to figure out who the Voltaire quote, if you want to figure out who rules over you, find out who you're not supposed to criticize. It's like by doing this. By saying you're banned, you can't eat at a restaurant. By making jokes, oh, I'm going to get Sneeko can go get a to-go box or whatever. Oh, look, I'm having fun here at the club. They're like posting Instagram stories. Sneeko wishes he could be here. You are now creating more anti-Semites.
Are you jealous you're not at the club?
Right. Like, are you, you can't come here? Like, no, yeah, the club sucks. Fuck you and your club. I don't need to go there. Second off, you're going to say it's anti-Semitic to insinuate that there's an overwhelming Jewish Zionist control in America, right? Then you ban us from everywhere for playing a song in a club. Then you flex and you dunk on it and you make a big show out of it. What do you think people think? What do you think the Goyim think now when they see what happens? So Nicki Minaj, who goes on Turning Point, after Charlie Kirk himself said that he doesn't like her music, he said Nicki Minaj is convincing black women to become promiscuous. Erica Kirk, after Charlie passes away, brings her on stage, regardless of what he said, to promote her. And knowing that his organization was built off of his ideology, and his ideology was this music is poisonous. He said Nicki Minaj's music is making women worse. This is not a good role model. So,
I mean, you don't like Nicki Minaj's make ass great again campaign?
A little bit. I mean, I do like.
Well, all right. You're honest. You're honest.
Yeah, I mean, but selfishly, I need to control that. Obviously, this is not the best for society, but I'm not.
Well, apparently, you guys had a bit of an impact on Nick. Now, all of a sudden, he's debating marrying an OnlyFans star. So
he went to Miami for one day. Like,
one day.
One day in Miami, he goes clubbing, and now he wants to get with an OnlyFans girl. I miss the incel Nick. We need to get him back
Take him to a nice university with a nice university girl that's not, filled with Botox and plastic, and maybe we can get him back on the straight and narrow.
Hopefully, maybe for whatever universities we're not banned from, or if it's not a Mossad agent that's on that campus.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You may get banned from every campus now too. I don't know. Maybe that's a campaign that you want to go down. It's not the one you asked for, but here we are. So I also wonder too, because I don't want to get into the personal stuff, and everybody's kind of taken their own route after the drama of all of this. But has that impacted you at all? Kind of watching everybody take their own route after this, and do you feel like I don't know if I want to say it's a trust issue, but it's just like a damn, I thought you'd have my back type thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was on the assumption like we're all in this. Like, you're hanging out. We're on the same mission. We've said the same things. Everybody there seemed to have enjoyed the song. It seemed like everybody was enjoying it there. I've heard beforehand the reason that I played the song in the Sprinter van. I don't know why it's like this is like we committed a crime. Like, who played the song? Like who had the murder weapon? It was my murder weapon. Me with my Bluetooth was the murder device. Yeah. I played it in the club. I'm not the DJ. I'm not responsible for that. I didn't know that it was going to be played in the club. You could see my face. I was surprised. Maybe someone asked. I don't know. But now there's all this finger pointing and blaming who, regardless of the fact, whoever fucking played the song, everybody was listening to it. And at the end of the day, it's a song. It's not a gun. It's not a murder weapon. We didn't hurt anybody. This is America. What, you can't listen to a song anymore without a whole apology campaign, without this whole investigation, without detective work? We can't listen to music that offends you. We're all adult men here. All right, why are we now living in a country where you need to go and be afraid to play a song in a car? This is not what freedom is.
Yeah, and again, you can point to the mainstream music that they'll play it everywhere, not just at clubs. It's like at the clubs, you might even argue it's appropriate. They play it on the radio. They play this stuff on the radio for everybody to listen to. Any kid can tune in the radio or Spotify or anything else and listen to the songs that have been on for years. Gang banging, drug dealing, pimping, beating hoes. I mean, I remember 3 6 Mafia growing up. We all remember 3 6 Mafia and people getting triggered over that. And what did 3 6 Mafia do? I don't know. You might be a little too young to remember this.
I know.
But that's what they used to do. Or NWA. They'd have these hit pieces, and this is when like conservatives and Christians were actually conservatives and Christians, and they'd go out there and they'd go after the music industry for promoting this stuff. And I remember 3 6 Mafia would just say, "Oh, really? You don't like our music? We're going to go to the studio right now and make something even more offensive." Mm-hmm. And that's what they did.
Right. Yeah, like what the song "Fuck the Police." Should all the police band together and get that song removed? Like if you listen to "Fuck the Police," are you banned from police stations now? Are you banned from? Because I've enjoyed that song. I've listened to that song. I've sung all the time. I have it stuck in the back of my head right now. I can repeat the lyrics. If I play that now, am I now under fire? Am I now?
I've never heard that. I've never heard anybody get in trouble for playing that song.
Exactly. Because it is just music, right? Music is an art form, and people who are not able to separate and differentiate the two are just being disingenuous, right?
I remember actually, we used to go to this bar when I was younger. It was like the home bar, let's say. We would all go there and drink all the time. and the cops would always have to come shut us down because we'd be drinking past hours. So the cops would come in, and we had it on ready to play. As soon as the cops would come in to kick us out, we would play that song, F the Police. And they laughed. They were like, all right, guys, okay. Like, all right, real funny. And then they'd come and shut it down and kick us out. And we'd play it every time. Probably happened dozens of times. Nobody ever got offended. Nobody ever got banned. No cop was ever harmed in the process. So I don't know. You could, I guess people would say, well, it's different. But it's just like, the point is, I've never seen a response. I don't think we've ever seen a response like that where it becomes some international incident. I mean, I don't know. I'll go ahead and say it. This was a bigger incident than the tunnels with the shit-stained mattresses. Okay? Wow. I'll just go ahead and say it like that.
The New York City tunnel, what did we start, 2024, 2025 with that news story? That news story got shoved right back down into the tunnels where they came from. Nobody ever spoke about that. That wasn't an international incident. Nobody did an investigation.
Did they brown it out?
I think they
browned it out.
I'll ask the Miami Beach mayor. Maybe I couldn't tell you what happened, but that is much weirder than anything. We played a song in a club. I just saw it was played in Germany. It's covered on the news, which is actually kind of funny. It's like pretty full circle. Imagine being a German guy and you see this song being played and you see like a Sudanese guy, a bunch of mixed people, two white guys listening to a song, and you're like reminiscing and stuff. It's funny how powerful the internet is, and the power of music. But that's what art's about. It's supposed to provoke.
Now I wouldn't be surprised if more people try to do it just because they saw the incident it created.
And they should. I encourage everybody across America, encourage your local bar, your local club, go into your local establishments, tell the DJ to play this song. It's just music. Let's bring free speech back. Let's see if everybody is a free speech, cool, popular. Everyone's gangster until a real gangster shows up. Go into your bar, play this song, and let's see how people react.
By the way, and I sent you this, and this may interest you. I don't know if you could play this on a stream and really start to throw some haymakers. The Miami Beach mayor was censoring a woman. This is a Jewish woman. In March of 2024, she went to speak at the city council, the city commission public speaking forum, and she was protesting because a lot of Florida's policies are very pro-Israel. I think they have the anti-BDS laws now. I think they have some protection speech laws as well. And so this woman was basically, a Jewish woman was protesting what was going on in Gaza, what was going on in Palestine. She didn't like it. And she was saying that, I'm a Holocaust survivor, basically. I'm a Holocaust survivor, and now I see what is happening in Gaza. It reminds me of the Holocaust. I don't know why we don't stand against it. That same Miami mayor shut her down, stopped her speech and shut her down. Now, Alex Stein actually won a free speech case, I think in New York, for the same thing. I don't know if that woman ever took legal action. I never heard about it. There was also a young girl. I don't remember her name. She was a model and a club promoter. She made a claim that they all bring in underage models to these clubs and to these after parties, and they all know exactly what they're doing. So it's just like the same thing. It's like, hey, how are you going to judge me when it's like, let the first sinless person throw the first stone. And it's just like, you guys are all involved in bad stuff. Let's stop pretending like this is the worst thing you've ever done or seen or heard.
Completely true. I saw that from the model, and
you did see that.
Yeah, I saw that, and I do need to reach out to her. I wanted to, but it's absolutely true. Every promoter knows it. Every club owner knows it. They all do shady deals. There's all drugs going in and out. There's prostitution going on. It's like, this is the place where degeneracy thrives. That's where you're supposed to do. In the club, you're not there to be holy. It's literally the rejection of everything holy and things that are good. You go there to blow off steam, to have a good time, to be edgy and listen to a song that says fuck the police, to listen to a Nicki Minaj song so girls can shake their ass that she told them to get. That's what it's about, right? If you're there expecting to be, this is perfect and everything, you're in the wrong. Go to the library, go to the synagogue.
Well, and if you do, you might want to carry, because those are everywhere right now. I say this, we just saw what happened in Minnesota at the Christian church. Folks, if you're going to church, if you're going to a place of worship, I don't care, Muslim, Jewish, Christian, you guys better have serious security. And I would be on edge. I'd be ready to protect your congregation, because I don't think that's cooling down, unfortunately, because there are psychotic people out there. Mm-hmm. And I saw too, it's like, again, there's so many we have so many problems in this country, right? We have so many problems that don't get addressed. And it's just like, we make the incidents, we make the big national, international incidents about the most least consequential things. And it's just, that's what gets me out of whack. It's like, hey, whatever, have your stand, have your issue. We can have debates. But it's like, let's stop pretending like there aren't bigger issues. Let's stop pretending like our infrastructure isn't decaying. Let's stop pretending. If I go out in Austin, and I'm probably actually going to do this pretty soon, I'm working on getting a collab with a couple other people here that stream and do live content in Austin. I can go out to Austin right now, and I'll show you people that are overdosed on drugs in the streets. I'll show you homeless people that are barely getting by. They look half dead. And my heart breaks for these people. It's not like my heart breaks. I see this and my heart breaks. It's sad that this is going on in America. I grew up in St. Louis. There are parts of St. Louis where guaranteed you're going to hear multiple gunshots every night. Just guaranteed gunshots. Happens in Austin now. Parts of Austin. Guaranteed you're going to hear gunshots. It's like, these are the real issues that we're facing. It's like, if we're going to sit here and make a national incident and draw a bunch of attention to something, let's find out why our inner cities are falling apart. Let's find out why there's so much homelessness, drug abuse, violence, crime. It's like, maybe we can address that. And if we had such a great civilization where none of that was going on, then maybe you can go after Sneeko for playing a bad song. Maybe then you can say, how dare you, Sneeko? Look at how pristine our civilization is. Look at how pristine and pure our civilization is. And you want to ruin it with something like this. And you're standing there like, okay, there's a hooker over there. There's a guy getting a hand job at the bar. Oh, that guy just sold a bag of cocaine back there. They're all doing ecstasy over there. Sorry, I played a song.
You're completely right, Owen. And I think people are seeing through it. And you would think that those people that control the media, that are all upset in the government, and that they would not see what's happening. It's like the average person, and it really matters to them to have the trust on their side. They have spelled it out very frequently. That's why Netanyahu wants to give $7,000 to influencers, is how important it is to get the public to trust you. But when you do this moral grandstanding nonstop, everyone is looking at it and like, there's a fentanyl crisis here. You know, people are unsafe in their own cities. You know, I can't have access to healthcare, and you want me to care about people going to the club, listening to a song? At this point, too, you know, I'm a grown man. It's been a week since it's been a week since this happened. And it's funny that they're calling this an incident. No, we went to the club. It's not an incident, and you didn't like it. Just the incident. They're gonna call it Hitlergate or Clubgate at this point. It happened.
It's the Clubacost.
The Clubacost. Like, it's literally another Holocaust. It's not. Okay, we went to the club. We moved on.
6 million people died that night at the club.
And they're still harping on it. Like, they're acting as if like they're saying, never forget. It's another October 7th. That date's going to be the next October 7th. Yeah. Look, my whole timeline, and not to overstate it or to be too, repetitive about the subject, but it's like every time I open, it's just, this is everything people are talking about. Almost a week later. And not to get, I know this is a talking point from a lot of liberals, but really I'm seeing far more outrage and way more outrage on my timeline and from people, from the talking heads about this than there was for the past several years about the Holocaust, about the genocide happening in Palestine, about us funding it. There's a fraction of the amount of people that care. The outrage I saw from these people, the seething look in their eyes, is not even remotely similar. It's a fraction of what it was for kids getting assassinated, getting sniped in the head, for IDF soldiers banging on the prisoners' doors, protesting for the fact that they can't rape more Hamas soldiers. This is what happened in the past 2 years. Seeing it completely leveled, seeing IDF soldiers destroy crates of food, cut off their water supply, seeing these people live in an open-air prison, and then see Trump say, we're going to make this into a Trump casino, and then bring Netanyahu here 5 times. The mayor went to go visit there. Patrick Bet-David, who's and his co-hosts, who are all, this is outrageous. They hosted the leader of the modern Nazi party right now, which is Israel. These are the Nazis, the people with the racial superiority complex who are genociding people. He had him on his podcast to promote his agenda, to spread the Hezbollah movement. So I'm sick of it, and I don't want to hear people keep talking about it. It's a club, and it wasn't a Holocaust.
Well, most of the youth, I think, no matter where they fall, are kind of in alignment with, whatever they feel about the different, let's say, religious contexts, geopolitical issues. Young Americans don't want anything to do with it. The polls all show it. The culture is only going one direction. And I think that that's part of why they're pushing the gas on it so much, is because they know that they only have a small window of time to get all of their geopolitical agenda through. But I will say this, and this might help you better understand it. The whole Israel issue, the whole fighting anti-Semitism issue, it's just Black Lives Matter for conservatives. That's all it is. Black Lives Matter is the left virtue signal, social justice warrior movement.
Wow.
Fighting anti-Semitism, standing up for Israel. It's just the right-wing version of Black Lives Matter. That's all it is. It's just a little more. It's just a little more well-funded. It has a lot. It's more ingrained into the political culture here. But that's really all it is. I want to ask you a question.
That's a banger. I kind of did you tweet that yet? That's a banger. That's really good.
I came up with that probably about a year or so ago. I first started saying that. Yeah.
Zionism is BLM for the American right.
Yeah. And it is. It's their social justice warrior movement. And just like the BLM activists, when you actually want to have a discussion or a conversation or a debate about it, they can't do anything. They call you a racist. When you try to have a discussion about these issues with the right, they call you an anti-Semite. So it's all woke. It's all woke tactics. So yeah, now that you kind of have that framing of it, I think it'll make a lot more sense, and maybe you can even kind of approach it in the same way. I have a question for you. Have you ever talked to iShow Speed?
Yeah, briefly.
Did you see Emily Austin and him when she crashed his stream the other day?
This was a long time ago when she asked him why he's not a Zionist, and he said, "Why would I be a Zionist?" I think this was about a year and a half ago.
Oh, that was an old video. Okay, see, yeah. I just saw that. And I'm sitting here like Emily Austin is like James Bond. She's like magically everywhere. It's like, how does she even get access to that? Okay, whatever. But that to me, it's like, again, here's iShow Speed, who probably doesn't have any political opinion. He's not thinking about geopolitical policy or anything like that, foreign policy. He just does his content. He's, young guy, goofy, likes to have fun, go to different places. And here comes this, I'm assuming that she's part of Netanyahu's digital influence team because she was there Absolutely. At that meeting. Yeah, I don't think it's really, I don't think that's a conspiracy theory. I think it's pretty obvious. And it's like, here she is now trying to get him on board, right? It's like, oh, here's a young guy who's influential, a lot of followers. Like, this is a guy we need to get on our side. This is a guy we need to get with us. And he was kind of just like, why are you doing this? What are you doing? He's like, oh, okay, whatever. Okay, cool. Nice to meet you. And then she's like, henpecking him. And he's like, you know what? Screw you. Unfollow. It's like, they don't even realize how it's like, you guys are just so cringe. You're just so cringe. It's just like, get away. Like, go do this somewhere else. We don't care. This is the Western Hemisphere. This is America. We're not interested.
Mm-hmm. And I would encourage, and he had the right response there. I remember Speed's face. We're not on, best friends or anything, but his face there, like seething, like, why would it be, is perfect because he's trying his best to come from a genuine place. And so most streamers, I'm kind of in different worlds in my content creation space. So, I'm in the political world, in the music world with Ye, and then also the streamer, like the streamers. I would say one thing that I would encourage them to do, maybe you've seen this. The reason that Emily Austin approached Speed there is because for years he's been yelling, "Free Palestine, free Palestine." Much before October 7th, and same as myself, I've been saying "Free Palestine," right? Because they could see that this is bad. Bombing innocent people is wrong. It's like it's a simple thing for people. It's a simple conclusion for people to come to. And so now it's common. Every Twitch streamer says "Free Palestine." They all do. And as soon as you say this now, it's a slogan. And the chat will be here, and they start spamming www. Everyone loves you. Now you're like the cool guy. Oh, yeah. And this is a litmus test for streamers. And it's like, oh, he said "Free Palestine." He didn't. This is how they figure out whether or not you're a good or bad person. But what they don't know is who do you free Palestine from? Free Palestine from who? They don't go past there.
You're just like a catchphrase.
It's a slogan. It's just like saying, it's like posting a black square on Instagram during BLM George Floyd peak. It's the same thing. Or having BLM in your bio. It's showing a solidarity. It's like putting a pride flag and saying, oh, look, I like gay people. These people need to realize, okay, yes, free Palestine, but from who? Or else it just becomes this corny slogan that you are now gaining fans from, and now it's upping your aura and your reputation. No, free Palestine from the Jewish ethno-state of Israel. It's not freeing Palestine like you take a lobster from a restaurant and you're just frolicking on the beach barefoot and you let the lobster go back in, and then you
like Free Willy.
Yeah, it's not like free. It's not Free Willy, and that's how they talk about it. It's like, yay, they're free now because I said it. No, actually, it's still going on. Who's doing it? Like, who are the people keeping them in captivity? Who are the ones keeping them in prison and bombing them and killing them?
So I take it. I take it you're not going to be investing in Jared Kushner's master plan then? You're not going to be an investor? You're not looking at beachfront property?
Oh, his Gaza, does he have a plan to put? Yeah, they're introducing some real estate.
No, they announced it today at the WEF. Apparently, you know, MAGA is pro WEF now. We like the WEF apparently now. It's an amazing thing that's happened. So they made their big master plan announcement. They're looking for investors, but you're not interested. You don't want the beachfront property on top of a bunch of dead skulls and carcasses.
You know why I like your show is because you're similar to me. Like, you voted for Trump, and then you're like, this is retarded. Like, I can't do this. And then you see the rest of the people that are still in this cult. It's like, now Epstein, that he's good. We don't want the files. Pedophilia is fine. We were anti-globalist, but now we're globalists. We're part of the World Economic Forum. We were no new wars. Now we like war. Let's go bomb Iran. More regime change. Like, literally all the principles of the original MAGA movement are gone.
Yeah. Well, it shows that there's a lack of critical thought. And it shows that a lot of these people are they just want to be on the winning team. You know, they don't really, it's not even like they have any real political beliefs, or if they do, they're extremely shallow. They just want to be on the winning team. But I think the loudest voices and what, it's accurate to describe a MAGA cult. I think that the reason why it's so difficult for them, and I'm starting to see cracks, quite frankly, I'm starting to see cracks, but I think the reason why it's so difficult for them and why they're so confused with somebody like me who, dude, I was arrested 5 times for supporting Trump. I spent 60 days in prison for supporting Trump. And really, it's, you know, I was just supporting the truth. The election was stolen. The impeachments against Trump were legitimate. So it's not like, I mean, I'm just supporting the truth. But yeah, I supported Trump. But they're confused. They're like, wait, why aren't you this Trump loyalist with us? And they don't, because they created an entire brand and their entire persona is based off of Trump. Like, it's like part of them. They don't have anything independent of Trump. Without MAGA, without Trump, they don't exist. They have no relevance. And so they're kind of confused at somebody like me, who I've been in media. I've been in broadcasting since I was 21 years old. I've been a professional in broadcasting. I was in media before Trump even ran for president. So they kind of look at somebody like me and they're like, oh, I thought you were big MAGA brand. You know, I thought you were big Trump brand. I thought this is how you built your thing. And it's like, no, bro, I'm not like you. I'm a professional broadcaster here. I'm not a cult influencer. So I think that there's a little bit of that going on where they're afraid that, oh, if Trump isn't what we think he is, or if I start to say things that are negative about Trump, that, like, you know, it kills my brand, or it, you know, all of a sudden I don't have this personality, this online persona. So I think that there's a lot of that going on with it. And really deep down, maybe they know it's like, you know, this doesn't make sense. This actually doesn't add up, but I have to support it. I have to support it.
I don't know what it's going to take. I thought by now, when Trump said on Truth Social that if you want the Epstein files released still, I don't want your support, I thought that would be it. And then you see tweets from J.D. Vance in 2021 where he's saying, we need the Epstein files released. You see tweets from Donald Trump's son, Trump Jr. He still follows me on Twitter. He tweeted 3 years ago saying we need the Epstein files released. And it's now your dad's in office. Fucking ask him. And if the World Economic Forum, so MAGA is in support of this,
yeah, we like it now. We like the World Economic Forum now. And we're posting, you know, we're there, and we have pictures and we have access. And so it's cool now. It's awesome.
This just makes me want to play that song more. I can hear the da-na-na. Can anyone else just hear the da-na-na? That's all we have.
All right,
and they want to take that away.
Actually, you know what? We got it. Here's what somebody needs to do. I guess, do you have some music production talents, you said?
No, I was filming documentaries and
okay.
I was working on the videos with Ye while he was there.
Here's what somebody can do. Take the beat, change the lyrics, just do like a remix, and then like insert all the different stuff that MAGA has flipped on. So it's like, dun, 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 we love regime change war, dun, 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 Epstein files a hoax, dun, 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 and just like, you know, just massage all the other things into it that MAGA has totally flipped on. And there is no deep state, dun, 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 and just, you know, see how they consume that one. It'll be a little more appropriate that way. We're not offending anybody.
I didn't know that you spent 60 days in jails after January 6th. This is, I mean, obviously that's the same, but I got banned on YouTube for calling out the 2020 rigged election. And, you know, when you took risks like that, financial risks, and you spent days in jail, it's like, it's full on betrayal.
I was arrested 5 times, and I was already banned. I was banned from everything in 2018 when I was part of the Alex Jones mop up. So I was banned from everything in 2018. So a lot of this stuff didn't get out. And it was like if you were listening to InfoWars and you were part of the InfoWars audience, then you knew this. But a lot of other people that, didn't find our censored content at the time obviously didn't know. And that's, and that's the other thing that's so funny too. And it's not like I'm not sitting here running around like beating my resume. It's like, hey, whatever, live and let live. I make my own decisions. But it's just like all of these MAGA cult members. It's like, dude, you wouldn't even bust a grape in a food fight. And you're going to sit here and act like I'm some sort of a sellout or I'm some sort of a fraud. Like, show me one thing you've sacrificed for this political movement. And they can't. All they've done is profit. All they've done is made a bunch of money, sold a bunch of merchandise, gained a bunch of social media following, and then they get to be a part of the digital media influence infrastructure that pays pretty well, I'll add. I'm not going to say too much, but obviously I have intimate knowledge of that. I mean, they get paid well to post stuff on social media. I'm sure you've probably seen it.
No, I've not. I don't get the money like that, and not even to put you in a compromised position. I know that you didn't mention the Tate thing, which I'm sure you wanted to ask about. But I mean, I know you had a former working relationship with Alex Jones, but just if I could speak on this from an America First perspective, seeing him now join the globalist movement after decades of saying he was against it, being in support of war in Iran, is just the fact that people are not seeing how pathetic this is and how this is selling out his entire core principles and also his own country. We need to make the same mistakes. This war in Iran, anyone saying that, like, okay, it's horrible there, people are dying. It's like, yeah, sure, that could be happening, but it's time to prioritize our own country. All right, this war is for Israel. It's not for us. This is the last threat around Israel right now, and they've been begging to go bomb them for years now. And so now they have an excuse, and they're using us. And you see Marco Rubio, you see Ted Cruz, you see these people say, oh, the patriots in Iran, we stand with the patriots of Iran. No, you don't. You don't even stand for the people in your own country. Now we're supposed to believe that the MAGA cares about Iranian protesters. This slop is insulting to our intelligence.
Yeah. And you know what? Look, at a certain level, I can understand people clinging to hope. I can understand clinging to hope. I'm just somebody that calls it like it is. I don't connect myself emotionally to this stuff, which makes it a lot easier. But there's people that just cling to hope. They can't believe it. And hey, I'd love it. It's like I can sit here and say, let's say I hope Q is real, right? Like I hope there's some secret plan and they're going to arrest the deep state satanic pedophiles and the whole thing is going to be exposed. It's like, hey, I hope that's real. And if that happens, I'll sit here and I'll say, wow, Trump is the greatest thing ever. And all the Q believers were right. And you guys were right. And I was wrong. And I'll celebrate it. Like, that's good. Okay, fine. Take the W. But I don't have any proof of that. I don't have any knowledge of that. I'm not going to sell something to my audience that I can't prove is true or real or that I don't believe in. But I can understand people clinging to hope. I understand it's tough, man. It's tough to think that, we put a lot of faith. We invested a lot of human intel into this movement. And then now you're looking at it and you're like, gee, maybe it wasn't what we thought it was. That's a tough pill to swallow. I understand that. But that's why, and I said this right after Trump was elected, and I still think it was maybe one of the smartest things I ever said. I said, all right, things are going to get contentious. And so you need to decide what you stand for, not who. And I can probably, I'll pull this post up as you're responding here. I'll put it on the screen. But that's what it does. And that's why for me, it's like, this isn't really hard for me to manage because I understood it right after the election. You have to decide what you stand for, not who. And then everything else will be a lot easier to manage. I'll pull that up as you respond here. And if you want to make any final statements here.
No, that's a great point. And that's exactly what I believe in. I'm somebody who just puts God first. And then that's why I don't subscribe to political ideologies, because if you say I'm a Trumper, I'm a Trumpist, I'm a Republican, I'm a MAGA, whatever, then you end up at the World Economic Forum with Epstein's client list. It's like, you can't have allegiance to these people because time and time again, they've proven that they will sell you out.
Yeah. I'm going to try to pull this up before we sign off here. We're about to close out the hour. Anything else on your mind today? Anything else you're talking about? Non-political, if you want to say something non-political?
Nigga Heil Hitler. I mean, that's pretty much it. That'll summarize it.
Thanks. Because that's not political at all, huh?
it's just a fun song. I should have sung it.
Are you gonna do your own rendition? Do you still talk to Ye?
Yeah. Yeah.
How's he doing? He's got to be laughing about all of this somewhere, right?
I haven't spoken to him about this.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised of his silence, and I think he made some decisions to, try to get maybe access to his kids or something like that.
Yeah, I will say this, maybe to close this, like, I'm not that I'm sorry for playing the song or apologize or anything, but one thing I do have to admit is that I did not consider. I mean, Ye's not on this trajectory anymore. The song's wiped. It's not on Spotify. You have to go to like different websites to find it. It did come out less than a year ago, and I was there. I took a lot of hits. I was documenting the whole process. I'm a film guy of the song being made. The videos are up on my Twitter garage and living room. You can see him making the song. It's pretty fascinating to watch. But when in the moment, I'm not thinking like, all right, he's on a different thing, and this maybe cause I knew it was going to make waves, but I didn't consider that. So I just have to remind people that this is not Ye right now.
Is he doing okay though? I mean, is he because he looked he looked a little down in that last video where he was with the rabbi. I don't know where that was. He looked a little down there. Is it because I imagine he misses his kids. I imagine that's pretty tough.
Yeah, that was in New York City, but there was a picture up from him on Christmas, and you could see he's there with some of his children, his children in the photo. So it just seems like.
Well, that's good. I can't find this post. It's going to drive me nuts. You ever have that?
Yeah, every day.
You ever have that? You're just like, oh man, I could search for days and never find this damn post. But you know what? I'll find it. I'll probably just repost it today because I think the time is right. All right, Sneeko. Hey, so look, I'm dead serious. If you do want to go to Miami Beach and just walk around and see what happens, I will take that stand for free speech with you. And I'll just say this. Even if I disagreed with everything you said, even if I thought that was the most detestable thing I've ever seen in the world, and you are a despicable person for playing that song and promoting it and saying that on my show, and I would still stand for your right to say it. I would still stand for your free speech rights to say it, because that's the America way. That's how it's supposed to be. I think I found the post here before we sign off. Yeah, there it is. From December 2024. Next 4 years will be contentious. Here's my advice. Decide what you align with, not who. This will make it easier. Don't take things personally. It's a crazy world with crazy people. Healthy debate equals growth. Time to shut off, listen to beautiful music, get outside, enjoy. Yeah, so that was my advice after the election. I think it stands pretty strong to this day. If you do want to go to Miami Beach, I will fly out there, and I don't like traveling anymore. I'm sick of it. I've done enough of the street stuff in my life. I'm like an old man now. But if you do want to go out there and walk,
I'll communicate with you about a good time. I think that's a great idea, and maybe we can knock on the mayor's door, say hello.
Just leave your Muslim garb at home. All right. Just let's go out there. We'll do another.
No, let's go thobed up. If he could go kiss, if he could be a wall kisser, then I could be a thobe. We could be terrorists.
No, let's do another like iconic movie scene wardrobe fit.
Oh, you want to go Scarface?
No, you already did Scarface. Maybe like Pulp Fiction or something.
Okay.
You be Samuel L. Jackson. I'll be
why? Because I'm black.
I'll be Travolta. Yes. Yeah. I mean, duh. What is that?
Okay.
Of course.
Thanks, Owen. I really appreciate your time.
Hey, tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm back on YouTube finally. 3 years banned, and one of my strikes was defending Trump in the rigged election in 2020. So I'm back on YouTube. My main channel is Sneeko. That's where I post my film stuff. My second channel is Shneeko, SHNEAKO. That's where I stream every day. I got third channels, clip channels. You need to go look for those. And also I stream on Kick as well. That's kick.com/Sneeko.
Right on, brother. Good conversation. Glad you came on today. We'll stay in touch.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
All right, there goes Sneeko. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, guys, we're up against the end of the final hour here. We'll go probably a little long today, because I do still have a bunch of news on my desk. We had a couple guests. I guess, let me see if Ivan is still hitting me up. Oh my gosh, we're just blowing up right now. I'll give Ivan a chance to come on after all that drama today. Or maybe Kara Castronova. Apparently she got into it as well. I got to give a shout out to Mike Lindell TV, Real Lindell TV. You guys are doing great work. Allison and Kara, you guys are doing great work out there. I'm glad you guys got the press pass. Okay, Ivan wants to come on. Let's give me a second here, guys. Why not? We already got guests. We'll go a little late. Just a couple other odds and ends, but Ivan is he was part of the drama today. So we'll get his take on that, shall we? Why not? Why not? He'll be in the middle of talking. I'll be like, all right, Ivan, that's it. Be like, all right, Ivan. You've said enough. Get going. But no, we'll get Ivan on. He was wanting to come on, and he was part of that drama at the Hill today. You know, maybe I need to go down. Maybe I need to go back to DC too. Maybe I need to go back to DC with Ivan. Man. A lot of people chomping at the bit to come on today. Producer DMT says he wants to come on. He always says that. He never does. We'll see. We'll see how late we want to go tonight, though. I don't want to be on too late. I got early bells in the morning. All right, here we go. Oh, he's already in his studio. Have you been doing interviews? We're live right now, Ivan. Have you been doing interviews all day?
I did your former employer, then I did Bannon's War Room, and then I did with Harrison.
What former employer? I'm dead. I'm dead to him. No, I'm not trying to get any drama. So you've been busy though.
I'm going to urge you to. You both are, to me, both of you are Patriots. I'm going to go on both your shows because you've proven up.
I have no problem with that.
You've proven up. You went to prison for our First Amendment. I'm going to always respect that. So you have a lot in the deposit bag.
No. I have no regrets about my time there. I still love the whole team, the whole crew there. So we don't need to go down that road. But you've been busy. I want to talk about. Okay, so first of all, I guess it was the hearing started this morning, and I wake up, I got my news on, and then there you are with Stuart Rhodes, and you guys were there yesterday too.
We were,
and so, but there you are, and it's the Jack Smith hearing. You're back out there, so you had the 2 January.
Well, some Americans call him Jackass Smith, and others pronounce it Jack Smith. I'm not sure what the proper pronunciation is.
We're still trying to figure it all out, actually. We're still trying to get to the bottom of that. Okay, but so tell me what happens, though. So you're just sitting in the front row. How did
time out. Owen, I did a hat trick today. Are you able to go to my
I can pull up whatever you want.
So I had a hat trick today, and here's the sequencing. I walked in, and as I walked into the Rayburn building, good old Mr. Jack Smith comes in. And that's where I asked him a few questions. I think it's appropriate to play that.
All right, give me a second.
Unfortunately, here's the problem, though.
You said that's on your X?
It is.
All right, give me a second.
I think I'm supposed to go on Stinchfield next, and I don't know when they want me.
You don't need to be here very long, but I wanted to at least let you come on here and tell the people what happened, and I can pull this up, and maybe after you depart. So, but yeah, okay, so that's what I'm saying. So you're just sitting there like you like to do, sitting there in the front row.
No, this is before. As he walks into the building, I got Jack Smith entering the building and admonished him. And then later, as I'm standing in line to go into the hearing, I see what's his name, Nadler, and then I did a Nadler hit.
I did see him. He was penguining around out there.
Wah, 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 wah. And then during the break, one of the breaks for Jack Smith, I went ahead and put my hand out and said, Michael, Ivan Raiklen. And that's what, just by virtue of me putting my hand out and introducing myself, he kind of knows who I am, just to say hello to him.
Handshake.
Cordially as a handshake.
Yeah.
He didn't want to shake my hand, and then he said, "I can use swear word, right? I can use expletives here."
Yeah.
He says, "Go fuck yourself."
Wow.
So he became unhinged, and I said, "Oh, well, relax, buddy. I mean, just calm down." And you can see the entire engagement. I don't need to put words in my own mouth. It's all out there. It looks like, I mean, Laura Ingraham shared it. You got me on Fox News and NBC. Everybody's out there. And I think, as they say, it looks like we crushed the enemy in the info war today, because everyone can watch for themselves what it was.
You devastated. And you know what? Here's why it was so amazing to me when I saw it. It's actually almost, and by the way, big shout out to Kara here on the screen too.
Yeah.
Astronova, Real Lindell TV did a great job. She was out there. I don't know. She might be a little better looking than you, maybe just a little bit, but we'll withhold judgment, to each their own.
If I were or if I was former, failed MPD officer Fanone, I would lose my stuff right now. And because you just insulted me saying that she's more attractive than I am.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I would agree.
But that's what I'm saying, though, is it's like
he only goes after women. You notice that obviously he's not going to intimidate me. I think you could see that I'm not intimidated, right?
No, you
can't assault me because that requires fear or apprehension of harm, which I don't have.
You didn't flinch one bit.
And so as he started to be pulled away by Harry Dunn and Gunnell and was it Hodges, what happens next? The U.S. Capitol Police officer, female, basically puts her arms out in order to stop him from going completely Tasmanian apoplectic to protect members of Congress and the hearing itself. And he says, "Don't touch me," and then swears at her. I mean, that should have been immediate grounds for arrest, where he's essentially I mean, it's not about me, right? Great. I want to see how it doesn't matter to me. I think you can see there that, you know what, buddy? I lean in.
Yeah, you didn't flinch, and then he wants to tough guy you. But no, this is why, to me, it was such an important exchange, because when you go back and we examine...
You notice how he immediately switched from tough guy to, bro, he ain't going to work on... You got the wrong guy. He went immediately into defamation and victim mode.
He's fighting Nazis, Ivan. He's fighting Nazis. So, but here's why I think it was so important. It shows that, first of all, whenever somebody has a reaction like that, you know that they don't have a strong ground to stand on. You know that their side of it, their argument, whatever, is very weak. So you exposed that. But I think what's more important here is when we re-examine the whole...
Hey, I got to roll. Sorry. I can come back in like 10 minutes.
No. I've been on for over 3 hours now. I'm about to sign off.
Okay.
Ivan,
I got to bounce.
Mr. Clean of DC. There he goes. Get out of here.
Yes.
Go.
All right, peace.
Finish Patrick for the day. All right. There goes Ivan Raiklin. Oh, we did it. We got him on. What I was going to say was the reason why I think the exchange is so key is because it shows that these people are completely unhinged. They're completely unhinged. They don't have confidence on their side of the story from that day, and they're totally unhinged. And maybe even to another degree, it's like they were the ones that were doing the violence that day. They were the ones that caused the violence that day. I mean, that's who they are. There it is. All right, guys. So let me examine how we want to finish the show today. I'll tell you what. If producer DMT wants to join the show, he can. I've got some of the clips from the Jack Smith stuff. I've got some other news. I don't know. I guess there's some stuff here that's probably time worthy that we can get to. If I see producer DMT hop on the video before we sign off, we'll bring him on. So I'll leave that up to him. If I see him pop on the video, we'll bring him on. If not, we'll just cover the news, hit our super chats, and move on. But let me hit some of the timely news here, at least before we sign off. Independent autopsy and ICE shooting death of Renee Good released by law firm in civil investigation. So they basically, if you guys recall of my original coverage, the Owen report nailed it again. They determined that it was the third shot that was the fatal shot. So apparently all 3 shots hit. But, you know, and who knows? Take it all with a grain of salt, right? So this could be accurate. Who knows? Who knows? Let's be fair. Who really knows what's true and what's not? But they're claiming here that the independent autopsy says that the third shot was the fatal shot. And so, I still think now that because the federal team is taking over the investigation, that he's probably going to walk, because obviously the administration doesn't want this to go the wrong way. But if that's the narrative they push, that it was the third shot that they'll argue was an unnecessary shot, then there's, I think it's just going to lead to more protests. I think at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. It's just all about getting more protests, getting more disruptions. And and quite frankly, the Democrats, the left, the media, I think they want people dead. I do. I think they want people dead. They want people dead because it's good for their ratings. They want people dead because it's good for their fundraising. They want people dead because it's good for their agenda to get more protesters in the streets. It's like today they're claiming, ICE arrested a 5-year-old. It's like, you're just such scum. What happens if there's somebody drunk driving or something, and they've got their kid in the car? Like, of course they take the kid. What are you going to do? Leave the kid in the car on the side of the road? What are you going to do? Leave the 5-year-old in the backyard at home? It's just ridiculous. So just get ready. They're just going to overwhelm the system with this propaganda to try to get more protests, more people dead. So apparently TPUSA has sent a cease and desist letter to Candace Owens. I've got a lot of people sending me the latest drama in the Erica Kirk situation. And again, if you're a regular listener, you know where I stand on this. I don't want to be redundant about this issue. But since people continue to ask me and send me the new Erica Kirk stuff that keeps coming out every day, look, folks, it's to say it's weird is a dramatic understatement. To say it's weird is a dramatic understatement. And there's individuals now that are directly involved whose name you're going to start seeing popping up on other conspiracies. Okay. And I just don't know, to be honest. I just don't know what to interpret. I don't know how to interpret it, understand it, except it's just weird. So I don't know what to say. I don't understand why they're making the decisions they're making. I don't understand why they're associating with the people they're associating with. I don't understand this whole process in the aftermath. It's all very weird. It's all very suspicious. But my issue remains the same, which is, and this is the crazy part. So it's like, okay, everybody keeps sending me the new Erica stuff drama, and I've got Candace's statement right here. Everybody keeps sending me the new weirdness with Erica and all the new stuff that's going on and the different connections to everything else. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, the whole thing is weird. But you know what's actually kind of gross about it now? And she made some statement. They did this new church. They have this new church thing where they have a bunch of preachers going up there. And again, they look at the preachers, they look at the people that are part of this new team, and it's just like, what? What? How can this be? Is this even real? It's like, why? Did they never care about Charlie? Did they ever care about Charlie? Did any of them ever actually care about Charlie? Was he just living in the Truman Show? Maybe he figured it out. It's like, oh, okay, we can see the things that he said about Israel and changing his tune on that, and everybody looks at that as the circumstantial evidence. But you start to kind of re-examine now, and it's just like, forget about the politics. Forget about the politics. Forget about the policy. and you know, the heaviness of it and the circumstances of it. It's like, yeah, that's relevant. That's important. But let's not forget, this is a human being. Like, Charlie was a human being. He had a soul. And, you know, maybe he just started to learn some things about his entire life. And there's been, maybe even some people know somebody that's kind of had a similar experience, not at this level, but it's just like, you know, one day you kind of sit down and you realize it's like everything and everybody around me is fake. And it becomes this situation where the only place that you feel comfortable is in public. The only place where you feel comfortable or you feel genuine or surrounded by people that love you is when you're in public or when you're on the stage. Everything else feels fake. Everything else feels scripted. Everything else feels controlled. But I'm sitting here now and I'm just like, did any of them even care about Charlie? Did any of them even care about Charlie? Or do they care more about their narrative? Do they care more about the policies? But I just go back to me. You know, I don't need to follow all of the stuff. And I think if, I feel like if Candace was crazy, I feel like if Candace was crazy or not on the right path, that she would be getting ignored, that people wouldn't be talking about her and attacking her and everything else that we see. They would just leave her be and just be like, whatever, she's gone off the pasture. To me, it's like when you see that type of coordinated attack, it's like, that kind of indicates she might be onto something. But it's like, I'm not going down that route. I'm just sitting here and I'm saying, here was the event, and we're clearly being lied to about it. Like, I mean, they are literally covering up the death, guys. They're literally covering up. They're covering up the whole thing. They literally covered up the crime scene. So that's why I just feel like part of the reason why, part of my philosophy why I'm not going into the weeds on this deal, at least for me, for what I do, for my show, is because sometimes you end up getting lost in the sauce. Sometimes there's something that happens and then it's such a mystery, it's all confusing, and you all get lost in the sauce, and then it gets kind of more confusing, which can lead you down a wrong path, and then somebody can put something out there that is intentionally meant to mislead you, and then you got to retrace your steps, and it becomes this whole thing. And I'm just sitting here, I'm like, hey, hold on. Let's get back to the scene of the crime that they literally covered up with concrete, that literally the official narrative doesn't add up. They've changed their story. And just by the sheer evidence is impossible, the official narrative. It's impossible. So that's why I don't get lost in the sauce. That's why I don't go into all of this other stuff, because you can get lost in the sauce. You can forget about where you began, and then people can put fake stuff out there to mislead you, and then you have to retrace your entire step because you're not sure where you went down the wrong path. So I just go right back to the scene and I say, 30-6, no way. Tyler Robinson, one shot, cold barrel, halfway across the roof afterwards, covers up the crime scene with cement the next day. The security failures. Well, so here's what Candace said. Difficult to put into words. This is after, I guess, they served her a cease and desist letter. Difficult to put into words how terrible of an idea it was for Turning Point USA to send out this cease and desist letter. I'm at the point where I think someone internally absolutely detests Erica and permanently feeds her terrible ideas. It's the only thing that makes sense at this point. I again offer my consulting services to TPUSA for a monthly retainer. We can end this corporate charade now. I'm paraphrasing. But yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's like, Even Candace, folks, I get it. I've been there. I've been lost in the sauce before. I've gone into the weeds. I've gone to the bottom of these rabbit holes before. And so, even Candace is sitting here saying, wow, like none of this even makes sense. And you can say, Candace, has anybody done more legwork? Has anybody done more effort to try to get to the bottom of it? Regardless of whether you think she's on the right path or you think she's sane or not, has anybody else done the amount of work that she's done and committed the amount of time and resources that she has? I don't think so. Not to my knowledge, not even the FBI. Not even the FBI has done as much legwork as Candace, it seems. So I get it. Believe me, I get it. It's like you get down to the bottom of these rabbit holes and you got everything in front of you. You're like, whoa, I don't even know what's going on anymore. I'm confused. So that's why I'm just sitting here at the scene of the crime saying, hey, guys, the scene of the crime still doesn't add up. Oh, Kamala Harris just bought a new $8 million mansion. That's nice. I feel like this indicates she's done. I think she's done with politics. I think she's retired. $8 million gated Malibu mansion. That's nice. That is nice. You've got good taste, Kamala. Good for you. You and Dougie. That's a nice pool. Can I take a dip? Can we go skinny dipping? Oh, speaking of a dip, here you go. Unintended. I'm so good. I do great segues. I don't even try to. This guy goes for a cold plunge in negative 52 degrees in Siberia, Russia. By the way, did you know that they have huge cities in Siberia? I didn't realize that. Why do you Russians build cities in Siberia? Have you lost your mind? You're damn crazy to build a city in Siberia, but they have huge cities there. So he basically almost freezes. This is crazy to me. I can't even imagine how cold that water is. When I do a cold plunge, the water is 49 degrees. Okay. And your legs like really barely even work after you get out of the water. You can barely even function your legs for a couple seconds. It takes a minute. I can't even imagine. There's no wonder he's falling down and like limp and paralyzed. And look at these other guys. Look at these other Russians. They like aren't even bothered. They're just chilling. The Russians are nuts, man. The Russians are nuts. All right. We'll hold over the Jack Smith stuff. You guys even want to see this stuff? It's like it's just more political theater. It's just more political theater. It's the same crap, and they never do anything. They send the criminal referrals to Pam Bondi's desk. Nothing happens. So, I mean, I got the clips. You could show them, but we're just going to move. We're just going to move. We're going to finish the show. All right. What is this? Second show of the week. We're going into overtime. I kind of like the overtime. I kind of like the overtime factor. All right. We're going to the Super Chats. As we do every show, we go to the Super Chats at the end of the show. We appreciate everybody watching on Rumble. We appreciate everybody watching on X. If you want to get your chat read on the show, you have to follow, subscribe, listen on YouTube, and we will read all the Super Chats at the end of the show every day. So here we go. You guys are really finding creative ways to make it fun, huh? Owen Schroyer's wifey. Well, no. But hey, you know what? Everybody can dream. Put forth the effort. We need a Panakin Skywalker to bring balance to the Force. Well, here I am. Here I am. I loved you. Robert Bickerstaff. This is what Tucker has been saying, that when they can't debate, they resort to leftist tactics of shut up racist. But the right say shut up anti-Semite. Yeah, it's all woke. It's all woke behavior. It's BLM for conservatives. Shroive, it's me again. We just keep them coming, don't we? Tay from Florida. 2024 Florida hurricanes and 2020 pandemic equals panic buying. I think this is mostly in Austin from the ice storm, the ice outages from 2020. I think that's why people freak out. Viva Free. I always get his name wrong. My favorite Canadian Jewish lawyer podcaster. Well, he better be your favorite because he was on the show today. I would love to be wrong about Trump. For the love of Jesus, Trump, please prove us crazy panicans wrong. I agree. Chatty Boom Batty. Love you, Owen. Watching you since 2015. Best commentator in the league. 2015. How many can make that claim? Wow, really appreciate that. Thank you. You've seen quite a bit, haven't you? My Latina Cubana girlfriend passes as white. Well, at one point in time, she would have counted as white. All hail Tay, the king of $2 super chats. Also, YouTube autocomplete for chats is hella glitchy, worse than iOS messages from Jennifer. Well, I'm sorry. We'll send in a complaint to YouTube. Difference between conspiracy theory and truth is 6 months. So yeah, it was like, it used to be 10 years, and then it was 5 years, and then it was 2 years, and then it was 1 year. Now it's 6 months, and then soon it'll be 3 months, and so on and so forth. I wonder where this new institution, Board of Peace, is going to get funding from. I thought Trump was getting rid of institutions, not adding them. No, well, here we are. Owen, please be safe. We love you. I try my best. Feeling the love. Captain Ard, radical Islam, and now we have radical Zionism. Yeah, and we shouldn't have any of it. We should be radically against all of it because we're Americans and a Christian nation, as the Trump administration just said yesterday, which triggered a lot of people, by the way. I don't know if you saw that. The Trump administration says America is a Christian nation, and people started flipping out. Where are all the men? What the F are they doing? Well, I don't know. There's a lot of men doing a lot of different things. No quarter, your mind fascinates me. Thank you. Sometimes it fascinates me. Sometimes I don't even know what's going on. Sometimes I don't even have control of it. Exposed 305. Oh, and you got to understand that you believe in Jesus are his jewel. Guys, you got to read these things before you send them. The ones that say it because it's in their blood, it's a lie. The word says all nations are of one blood. Don't get stuck on the loop. I once was, you rock. I'm not sure how to respond to that. I think I understand what you're saying, but I'm not sure. LA Patriot. Oh, and can you do a Rabbi Schroyer meets Donald Trump spoof? I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. We could. We might. Marina. They are either clinging to hope or are too arrogant to admit they have been had. Maybe we're all guilty of that. Ken Rose with the thumbs up. It's not about whether Candace Owens is right or wrong. It's more so the way she's going about it that was distasteful. Feels like a grift. Label lists me state. That's the best I can make of that. Oh, and thoughts on Sovereign Bra. Would you ever collab with him? Also liking the long hair. It suits you. Thank you. Label, is it label Lissa May State? I like Sovereign Bra. I think we've done a collab before. I think I've talked to him on air before. It's been a while, if so. I'd have no problem collabing with him. You know, he's one of those guys that is like he lives it, you know, he lives it. Probably well, I know he's younger than me. Honestly, he's probably a lot more pure of heart and lifestyle than I was at his age. So I salute him for that. No, I think he's a good American. I think he's a good guy. Very healthy, very smart. I like him. Lori Powers, thanks for being here. Sam White, photos of Erica pregnant. Oh, I didn't even know. I didn't even know that was a thing. I saw, you know what? I'm not going there. I don't know about that one. Jordan Walker, hey, Owen, D's nuts worth the 2 shekels. Well, actually, Jordan, you're short 1 penny there. So actually, you're short a shekel. You got 1 shekel, and then you're short the 2nd shekel. So do better. We're going to need you to do a little bit better, actually, is what we're going to need from you. No. We thank everybody. All right. This overtime is done. We didn't even take a break today. Well, we took a break, but I mean, I never got out of this chair. I never got up. I got problems. So, that's going to do it. Hey, guys, it's Friday tomorrow. Just in case you needed something to look forward to. Tomorrow's Friday. The workday is done, hopefully. Tomorrow's Friday, and then you can enjoy the weekend, let's hope. We sign off. Stay safe out there. Stay safe. Stay sane. God bless. Godspeed. 21-hour break. We'll see you tomorrow.